Creativity Talking, episode 135, with our guest. Oh, not Caleb King. I obviously fucked up the editing. Anyway, welcome to Saturday Night Live with the Vag, with Rob Armstrong hanging out. And we also have Steve Schwab hanging out. And just in case Leon Ravel shows up, he will be hanging out. And our guest, I'm Biff Strange, the engineer, and Michael Chabut. Thanks, Biff. Did you fuck up his last name? Michael, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's Chabut.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 135.
All right, how's everybody today?
Hello. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Right on. Jason, why don't you give us some background on Michael?
Yeah, tonight we got Mike Chabut with us, old friend of mine from school, and he lives down in Mississippi. He's a police officer with the Pascagoula Police Department, former EMT, Army vet. He's got some stories to tell us. So
maybe one or two.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
All right, so let's start out. So, Jason, how did you meet Michael?
We went to high school together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And where was that at?
That was in Roscoe, New York, in the Catskill Mountains, or Pigskill Mountains, as you like to call them.
One stoplight.
Yep.
3 stop signs.
Yeah, it was a small town, man. About 2,000 people, something like that, in those days, anyway.
Our graduating class was 42.
Yeah, and that was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we just we did the small town school thing and the partying in the woods, the keggers and sports, high school sports and that whole deal, and then everybody graduated and went their way.
Some of us, the smart ones.
Yeah, right. But I bump into Mike all over the country though. Bumped into you in Maryland at the M3 concert. Years back.
How long, we hadn't seen each other since high school. And
it was like 20-something years.
20 years later, I'm walking through the concert in Maryland. I hear my name. I'm like, who the?
I was like, no way. But,
good times.
Yeah, man.
All right. Okay, Michael. So you're a veteran, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when did you? What branch of service?
I went in the Army in 1988, right after I got out of high school early. I took my GED because I was smarter than the rest of them were. And so I thought. I bounced.
Yeah.
Went in the Army, got stationed in Fort Lewis, and I was about to get out, and they decided, nah, you're going to go to Desert Storm instead.
Wow.
So where did you go over there? Were you Iraq over there? Or?
Yeah. We landed in Saudi Arabia the day the air war started officially.
Okay.
And then I ended up being part of what they called, you can look it all up online. It was called Ghost Troop. And if you ever want to bore yourself to tears, you can go on YouTube and look for the Battle of 73 Easting, and it describes the whole battle plan that Schwarzkopf came up with. And
yeah.
It was different, that's for sure. I mean, it's not like what these boys are going through now or what they were going through.
Yeah. Yeah, but, especially being like, the first round over there. I imagine, things were still a little like dicey, right? I mean, maybe things weren't like set up good yet and,
they weren't set up good yet, but it was, I think a lot of, especially Schwarzkopf, he had this, we're not doing Vietnam again. And they went in there and pounded the hell out of them with, bombing runs and stuff before we ever set foot in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a couple where the Republican Guard decided they were going to fight back, but, we ended up just smoking them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother was on the EMS team that designed the bunker buster.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so fastest production weapon from idea to drop in, I think, 29 or 30 days, something like that.
Yeah, that thing was badass.
Yeah.
So tell him I said thank you.
Just look up and say thank you. He's no longer with us.
Oh, my apologies. Thank you.
No, that's all right, man. Effects of PTSD, and I'm sure we're going to find a lot out about PTSD talking to you today with what you've been through in theater
in New York
Yeah.
and beyond. So, I mean, this is what the show is actually part. It's all part of that. That has a component, and we're not going to shy away from that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of near and dear to our heart. That
Yeah,
subject,
yeah.
So,
That's
and,
good. 'Cause
and Professor Steve here, he also is a veteran as well.
Corpsman, hospital corpsman.
hoorah.
Yeah. I I spent some time at Fort Sam Houston training with the Army. I specialize in neuropsychiatric technicians. So I was my first phase was with the Army medics and Army physicians, psychiatric and psychology team. So got to taste Army food.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so am I. I went to the chow hall once. That was it.
I
Never
apologize.
went back.
Yeah,
The
I almost
worst-
went to Sam Houston.
Did you?
When I got out, I ended up joining my local fire department.
Yeah.
They sent me to EMT school, and while I was doing my clinical rotations for that, this guy says, "Oh, you're prior service? Oh, you're in EMT. The reserves will pay for your paramedic program,
Right.
and it won't touch your GI Bill." I said, "Okay." And I had
Yeah,
two
that's
choices:
nice.
Fort Sam Houston or civilian college. So I went
Yeah.
to civilian college because
Did you?
Army medic in the real world means nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Fort Sam Houston was pretty nice. That was long. I was there in '79, so it was a little before your time.
Yeah, I was just moving to New York then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was.
And then Rob,
10.
of course, grew up in New York and lives in and around New York City and Long Island. And
I've traveled all over. I was in grew up in the Buffalo area and went down to Oklahoma for a bit. We're actually back and forth to Oklahoma for a bit. Ended up in Florida for school with these guys. And then I'm back out in Long Island right now. So
Oklahoma. God needed a place for dust and rocks. He made Oklahoma.
there you go. No
I
argument
like
here.
the new the camera view setup you got there, Steve. That's a good shot.
it is.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah, it's textured. It's got the roof line and stuff.
There you go. I can line it up to give me a little halo.
Yeah, so Steve lives in a round home.
It almost
I
looks
do.
like he's sitting in a casino somewhere.
Yeah, it's different. It's a round log house.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
There's
Yeah,
a
that's-
spaceship house on I-40 somewhere going north.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's built on the side of the mountain. I only know this because I passed it every time I would drive from New York to Mississippi.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad built like 3 or 4 of those what do they call them, Steve?
Oh, the geodesic domes.
Geodesic domes. Yeah.
Yeah, and for some company was trying to they're going to build 4 homes and then everyone's going to buy them.
Right. Wave of the future.
Yeah, yeah. It just didn't work, But okay, so how did you first join the military? What was your?
Well, it was kind of a convoluted thing. I grew up in a foster home up in Roscoe.
Okay.
And, I was a wild child and I didn't want to go to school anymore. So my only other option was be a street bum or join the military. So I joined the Army just to get the hell out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and did my basic training in AIT in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So I know full well what that crap hole looks like. Then I got stationed. I was a radar operator of all things for artillery. Basically, I was a javelin catcher. They're firing from over there. Please shoot them and kill them before they kill me.
Right.
And did that in Fort Lewis, Washington, which is Washington back then was beautiful. I wouldn't go back there now if you paid me, but
Right.
Washington State.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was basically Tacoma, Washington is where I was at.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
went to many concerts at the Tacoma Dome.
Ah, nice. What's the most memorable?
So you must have been there when all the gold was going on out of that part
Seattle
of the
and all that,
country.
right? Yeah.
Now, I was there in 89, 90.
Yeah. So you're getting all the Seattle was booming and all that stuff, so all that had to be happening all up and down that area.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up at a party with Sir Mix-a-Lot once.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a pretty cool dude. Or well, I was
Yeah.
drunk enough to think he was cool.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure one of the clubs I went to, I'm pretty sure I saw Alice in Chains, like,
Wow.
or at least one or two of them before they became Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
But
Probably so.
I'm still kind of mad that grunge killed my metal
Mhm.
people. Yeah.
We all are.
Yeah. So then, like I said, I was about to get out and I was done, and they extended me to go to Desert Storm. So I was over there for Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Came back, drove cross country. It was the best trip I think I've ever taken. I was all by myself. 1978 Datsun 280Z 5-speed, and the government paid for all of it.
Nice.
Came back to New York, kicked around a little bit, and I literally got into the world of emergency services literally by accident.
Really?
Yeah, me and my son's mother came up on a car accident, and this was before the advent of cell phones, unless you had one of those bag phones.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I got out, was checking the people to make sure they're okay. They're entrapped in the car. Told her to go to town, like we're in the Wild West somewhere.
Yeah.
And call 911. Our local fire department showed up, and they're like, "All right, we got this. Thanks. Get out of the way." I don't like being told to get out of the way.
Right.
So the next day, I put my application in the fire department.
Uh-huh.
Then I went to EMT school through them.
Yeah.
Then I went to medic school, and I was a medic for 18 years.
Right. Where were you living in New York at that time, Mike? You were.
At the time when I got in the fire department, I was living in a little town called Walker Valley. It was right out. You know where Pine Bush is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was right outside of Pine Bush.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I was living in Middletown for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I stayed in Middletown for a good long time.
Yeah.
And then got my medic. Did that I was probably a medic for 14 years, and then I decided, okay, it's time to be a cop because there's no retirement, there's no nothing in being a medic.
Right.
You got to work 3 jobs just to pay the light bill.
So, tell us about 9/11. September 11th. How you ended up down there working, and
that was like I said, you got to work 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And I had this one gig where a lot of the ambulance corps up there volunteer.
Right.
So because of economics, they can't staff during the day. They pay EMTs to work. So I was working an overnight shift for the local volunteer ambulance, and I'm waking up just to get off, and somebody says, "Bro, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center." Now, I haven't had my coffee yet.
Yeah.
I don't know why this dude is even talking to me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, like a Piper Cub or something like that,
Right.
Okay. Turn on the news and I look at it. And then I go upstairs talking to somebody. And then somebody said that a plane hit the Pentagon. I said, we just got attacked. And they all looked at me like I was retarded.
Yeah.
I said, think about it. The financial center of the world and the military center of the world. That doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward, second tower gets hit, Shanksville, PA, and there's only one thing we know how to do. We go where the problem
Where's
is.
that? Yeah.
Right.
That everybody's running this way, we go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in cars, and the New York State Thruway, man.
Yeah.
It was eerie. There was nothing but cars going south, and they were all private cars or ambulances or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
People with their blue lights and red lights in their private cars, me being one of them. And we were it. There was nobody else on the road.
Yeah.
And we're doing about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And there's state troopers in the center median, and they're just looking at us going,
yeah, go get it. Yeah.
And as we were going over the bridge, the second tower fell.
Yeah.
As I was going over the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
And then we were there, and I'd never seen devastation like that in my life.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
You know, probably a month ago before that, I was down in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you don't even look at them anymore because they're always there.
Yeah.
You know,
Used to 'em.
Empire State Building is always there. You know,
hmm
we don't look at that shit. We're not tourists.
Not tourists, right? Yeah.
And
I
now,
take it for granted.
and I got tired. I got tired of going to funerals.
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to funerals where it's just a picture
Yeah.
because there is no body.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we start, you know, clawing through the rubble, and basically it was, you know, bucket brigade. That's all you could do.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I ever picked it up. If anybody's squeamish, sorry, but and the only reason I knew what it was is because I was a medic.
Yeah.
I had a thigh muscle in my hand.
Yeah.
That was it. There was nothing
Right.
else around. Just
Right.
thigh muscle. And that's all we ever found was bits and pieces.
Pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really fucked up is one of the best comments I've ever heard, especially in today's climate. I wish it was September 12th.
Right.
The amount of people
Unity.
that came out to support fire, police, EMS, sanitation, whoever, construction workers.
Yep.
There was people lined up and down the West Side Highway,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
thousands of them with signs, thank you, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And now I watched some video today, some bitch whining about why is Manhattan shut down because a 22-year-old cop got killed.
Right. Yeah.
You know. So after
Yeah.
that, not long after that, I became a cop. I went to the academy in 2002
Okay.
because anything before that, I was too young to be a cop because I wouldn't have lasted a month. I would have been putting a bullet in somebody's head because I didn't have the temperament for it.
Right.
Mhm.
When you showed up at the at 9/11, you were still a paramedic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. It's frustrating to show up as a medic or an EMT or somebody, and there's nobody to treat, nobody to help.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird. They used to have to take volunteers and hide them under rubble for the rescue dogs because the rescue dogs were shutting down. If they don't find somebody,
Mhm.
they get depressed and
Oh.
they shut down.
Yeah.
Right.
So they had to find somebody.
Right.
Wow.
It was the wildest thing.
Hmm.
So you'd see people laying under some, 2x4s or a piece of sheet metal just so the dog could find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them on top of their game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I've I think I've talked about this with Rob and Steve both. One of the main things that really surprised me about 9/11 and where it was, and the people who have, let's say, nice photography equipment, you would think. I was amazed and grateful. You didn't see any pictures show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, especially like you had said
Like,
when you
Yeah,
knew
like
that
either
it
that's a
died.
major operation to make happen that no pictures are released. 'Cause
Mhm.
you know people are jagoffs and some dickhead's gonna
Oh, yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That surprised me that not one instance of
Yeah. During that, no, the only stuff we
very
saw
interesting.
was, the beginning where the towers were on fire,
Yeah,
and those poor souls.
right.
Yeah.
And they were,
But after that, yeah, you didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
and for it to even show up somewhere on some goofy YouTube weird,
Tabloids.
Yeah.
there's
There's
always
always-
like that was either a time of major respect or a major control
Well,
of not
I
getting
mean,
that out there. That was amazing.
like Mike said, let's face it, that was probably the last time this country was actually like everybody was like, you know what, we're all Americans, we're all
Yeah.
we're all on
yeah.
the same team. You know what I mean? That's before all this.
No,
Well, it was
I
the
think it
mass-
absolutely was.
Yeah, there's different mass trauma, as we now know, can go two ways.
And there's mass psychosis going on now too.
So,
Yeah.
hey, you're not a doctor?
But I play one on Facebook.
Yeah,
No, but I can call fucking.
I read
crazy
an
when I see it.
article.
I'm sorry,
I
Mike.
can call out crazy when I see it.
Right.
You know, when you're driving down the road with rubber gloves, a mask, and a fucking face shield on in your car.
Right.
Oh man, I see it every day.
Yeah,
well,
like
if it wasn't for
you
crazy
could
and
be
stupid,
wrapping
I
up
wouldn't have a
someone's
job.
leg live on this podcast right now because they hurt themselves, and you'd have someone going, "Look at the way he's wrapping it. Look at the way he's wrapping it. Look at the pole." You know what I mean, dude? Everyone needs, release the stick.
Yeah,
everyone
please.
is just so fucking tight.
Hmm.
Stupid. Everyone's locked up.
Yeah.
So how long were you there at Ground Zero?
A couple weeks. That was about all I could take.
Yeah.
I got friends.
You had to show up there daily. Yeah, you had to report daily.
It was kind of just there was no real reporting in the first week or two. It was just
all hands
whoever
on
showed
deck.
up showed up.
Right.
And we kind of went to the same spot. We were right around Building 7 in the American Express building, and there's one of the iconic pictures where you can see the, for lack of a better term, the ribbing that was on the outside of the World Trade Center when it was standing.
Yeah.
It's kind of curved in the pile of rubble. That's basically the area I was in.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
Were you searching
Yeah.
for
searching, digging,
body parts
searching.
and
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you found something, it got passed off to people that worked for the coroner's office, and
Right.
they took everything. I think they actually took it out to somewhere on Long Island or
They did.
Staten Island. I forget which.
They had like a hangar
Yeah.
or something out there. I think. Yeah. I think I bumped into you in Rockland County down there. I was working in Haversville in the quarry.
That's right. You were working at
Tilcon. Yeah. And I was supposed to go down there and run equipment. We sent a bunch of our front end loaders and excavators and stuff down there, and some of my buddies were down there in the first round. I was supposed to go second round, and then
who did a lot of construction work down there? Chris Choka.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in Long Island, doesn't he?
No, he lives in Sparta, New Jersey.
Oh, New Jersey. Okay, right on.
Yeah. In a McMansion.
Sparta, I got family over there. Yeah.
The guy busted his ass for it, so God bless him. He's got a McMansion.
Absolutely.
He actually ended up being in a commercial and being sponsored by. He never has to pay for another pair of Red Wing boots again in his life.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Because he had wrote to the company after working down on the pile. He stepped on a live wire or something, and those boots saved his life.
Really?
Wow.
So they did this whole story on him and the whole 9 yards, flew him out to the company headquarters. It was pretty cool.
I haven't seen him since school. It's been years,
I stayed at his house last summer when I went up to New York.
Kid. Awesome. Yeah.
All right,
He's still just as fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, you talk about PTSD and stuff. I guess I've been pretty blessed or pretty stupid, one way or the other. I don't know how you look at it, but I've always had an outlet to let that kind of stuff blow off and vent.
Yeah.
There was a time, there was probably a period in the course of about 5 days, I had so many bad calls, I almost walked away from emergency services.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
The first one was, I don't know if you were still in New York then. You remember the kid? It was all over the news up there. Christopher Gardner.
Small young child.
Yeah, was beat to death.
It was an abuse case.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
That was right behind my father's house. I was the first medic there.
Oh
wow.
Yeah.
I happened to be at my dad's house, and long story short, I end up seeing them milling around up there, and I go, "Did you call for an ambulance?" And because a neighbor called my mother going, "Hey, did you guys call for an ambulance?" Because, scanners, everybody's got them.
Yeah.
And so I go up there. I got nothing. I got my hands, my stethoscope. I just got off work. I don't,
Right.
And the house is elevated, and I walk up the deck stairs, and I see this little 3-year-old boy laying on a picnic table. Little blonde boy, blue eyes. I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
There was not a single part of his body that didn't have a bruise or a cut in some form of healing, whether it was old or new or.
Yeah.
And I looked at the dude. I said, "The fuck did you do to this kid?" "Oh, he fell down the stairs."
Yeah, right.
Okay. So can't focus on him. I'm trying to keep this kid alive with my bare hands. I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
He's got bite mark here, human bite mark. This is a second elbow because it's broken.
Mm.
And doing what I can. Medics show up, state police show up, and now I'm mad. I'm going to find him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw him off the 20-foot high deck. And I turned around, and no lie, I was nipple to nose with the biggest, blackest state trooper I've ever seen in my life. And he looked down at me, and I looked up at him, and he says, "We got this, boy. Take care of the kid." Okay, fair enough.
Right.
So that call's done.
Yeah.
I call about 2 hours later. I call because I knew where they were flying him to. I called the nurse because she was one of my proctors when I was in medical school. I said, "Hey, this kid just got flown in. What? Can you tell me anything?" And he ended up dying on the ER table.
Yeah.
And brain bleed, lacerated liver. I mean, you name it, they did it to this kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
2 days after that, I'm working the Port Jervis truck. We get called for an assault victim and a fall victim. That's not what it was. Hubby and wife married all of 10 hours. They get high and drunk. Hubby thinks that wifey is making goo-goo eyes at his cousin. He stabs her in the heart.
Oh my God.
Oh, jeez.
Family gets a little bit perturbed about that situation.
Just a little bit.
Throws hubby out the second-story window.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I hope they kept the receipts.
Well,
No.
either that or they got a free crock pot. One or the other.
Can you imagine you're just going to a wedding and you're like you're a guest of someone at the wedding and you've never met this family and you're like,
Well,
what the fuck is going on?
This was Port Jervis. It's not that kind of wedding.
No, it's not. I've been to Port Jervis.
Uh-oh.
That they get married at the
That's
local,
nuts, man.
firehouse, if that. Or maybe they get a couple of Walmart pop-up tents and they get married
Right.
under one of those.
Camouflage cake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
So she
Nice.
bleeds out.
The
Love
whole
you,
wedding
brother.
party gets cha.
Yeah.
Drink Bush Light.
She bleeds out, right? And she's
Holy
done.
shit.
Right. The every bit of blood she has is on the carpet now.
Wow.
Meanwhile, her little 2-year-old is asleep in the crib 3 feet from her.
Mm.
I call the ER doc to call it, and he's like, "Well, you sure you can't work it?" And I'm like, "Squish, squish, squish." I'm like, "You hear that? That's her blood on the floor, you moron." "No, I can't work it."
Wow.
Hang
The
up
dude
that.
died, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I think he actually did. Yeah. And
That's
then
crazy.
3 days after that, I'm working the Ferndale truck, so I was all over.
Yeah.
Get a call, unknown trauma. Hauling ass out. It was somewhere between Parksville and Livingston Manor. I don't know where the hell it was.
Right.
Grandpa's mowing the lawn, has his 3-year-old grandson sitting on his lap.
Oh, no.
Grandpa zigs, the kid zags. Grandpa runs over the kid's foot with the lawnmower.
Mm.
So now I'm working this 3-year-old, trying to get a IV on him anywhere, but he's in shock. I end up doing what they call an IO. I pop one in his bone. I look over at Grandpa, and he's as white as a sheet. I'm like, oh, Christ.
Yeah, he's shocking, right?
I put the 12 lead on him. He's having a massive heart attack. I'm like, you know what?
Mhm.
You're 78 years old. You've lived your life. I need to worry about him.
Right.
Try not to
Well,
die.
yeah,
I'll be
that's
with you in
how-
a minute.
Yeah, it's triage.
Same flight medic that got my first 3-year-old got this one.
Mm.
And he looked at me and I looked at him and said, one of us needs to quit because I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I got done with that call. I called my boss. I said, I'm going home. I don't know if I'm coming back. And he says, take whatever time you need, take some time. I said, no, you don't get it. I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
A week later, I was back to work.
Yeah.
And then you have the funny ones, We used to have this little, she was, I don't know what the politically correct term is now, but she was a little slow,
Yeah.
But she was there enough that she could live on her own, and she would have somebody come and check on her every day or every other day.
Right.
Yeah.
And her name was Franny, and she sounded like a fucking munchkin from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, no lie. And you walked in, and her apartment, she loved dolls. She had to have 300 dolls in this house. Porcelain dolls, crocheted dolls, everything.
Yeah.
And she would call sometimes because she was sick, most times because she was just lonely.
So she wanted somebody to come over and shoot shit.
So we'd go and we'd call because we were dispatched by the police department. So we'd call up the police department. Hey, we're at Franny's house. We're going to be here for a little while. If you need us, call us.
Right.
We'd make her some tea or whatever, hang out with her.
Yeah.
And one time we had to take her to the hospital, and she had hemorrhoids. Okay. So we take her. The doctor gives her the cream, tells her how to use it, the whole 9 yards. All right. Now it's a fucking tube of cream like this. All right. Like a tube of toothpaste, right?
Steve's laughing already.
Like big old Crest tube.
Right.
And we would take her home. We didn't take everybody
That's
home.
a hell of a visual, by the way.
You're welcome. So you'll never brush your teeth and think of nothing else now. But 2 days later, she calls back, and she says, Mike, my hiney hurts.
Oh, no.
I'm like, well, Franny, we just took you. They gave you the medicine. She said, I know, I used it. I said, okay, so you're gonna have to keep using it. She goes, but I used all of it.
Oh
no.
I'm like, her hemorrhoids are up in her fucking tonsils now.
Oh my God.
I'm like, Franny, you could just put a little. Oh, she was so.
No.
Like they say down here in the South, bless your heart.
Right.
Retract.
Right.
Oh, it retracted.
Holy moly.
That shit went
It's like
back
eating the
about 10
persimmons.
That's
Man.
But, those are the ones that kind of balance out the other ones.
Right.
right.
There was always a saying in EMS that it's 90% boredom interrupted by 10% of pure fucking terror.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
you just deal with it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm fucked up in the head. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. But I always found a way to deal with it pretty well.
Well, I mean, you're suited for it, right? I mean, it's I guess that's how you're like barking up the right tree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's people like my son actually wants to become an EMT now, and he called me. He's like, "What do I do if I see a dead body and I can't handle it?" I'm like, "You're gonna handle it."
Yeah.
Because when you're in the moment, you will handle it. It's afterwards you have to worry about.
Yeah.
And
That's
if you need
right.
to talk, and if you need to talk to somebody, I don't care what time it is, call me.
Yeah.
Right.
Find something to do outside of that. Don't hang out with EMS people all the time. Don't hang out with cop people all the time.
Right.
Because if you do, you're never going to get out of that fucking loop.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a different kind of crazy I hang out with. They make me run 25K trail runs in the middle of fucking Florida.
You were telling me you did that a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
Where's that?
We were in Milton, Florida, and it's called the Bear Bait Ultra.
Yeah.
And they have a 25K, a 50K, a 50 miler, and a 100K.
Okay.
And I hang out with really crazy people that make me do stupid shit.
Yeah. Sounds like
Me
it.
too.
We
I
have
can't
no idea what you speak of, sir.
Yeah, I can't even run to the refrigerator to get another beer. I'm going to walk gently.
Yeah.
So you're not in the EMT service or medic service in Florida at this point?
No. I was only
Okay.
out in Florida to do that race. I live in Mississippi. I live on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's a police officer now,
Yeah.
Steve.
I've been
all
a
right.
cop for 20 years, and I did both at the same time for a little while.
Right.
But I gave up my medic card. 10 years ago.
Okay.
I was a little bit crispy. I was done with it.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I would look at my partner and go, I'm not going in there. If you need me, call me.
Yeah.
Because we had this thing where it was called simultaneous dispatch.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't matter what the call was. They would dispatch the EMTs and the medics at the same time.
Right.
And I worked in what they called a double medic fly car. So we had 2 paramedics, and we would go meet the ambulance at the call. And
Right.
if it was a basic life support, well, then me and my partner left. If
Okay.
it was advanced life support, one of us went and the other stayed in service waiting for the next call.
Right.
So if they called 911 because they had, a cold or a booble on their finger, everybody had to go. And it was just a waste of time and resources, but that's the way the system worked.
Mhm.
So now, Mike, what's the difference between an EMT and a medic? I mean,
Okay, so
yeah.
EMTs can do, what they call basic life support. So you're doing CPR, you can use AEDs, you know how to, splint fractures, take care of basic wounds and stuff. Medics can give medications.
Okay.
They can intubate people. They can do chest decompressions,
some more advanced
IVs,
stuff. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Basically, we bring the emergency room to the street.
To where they are. Yeah. Gotcha.
All right, I have a question here from a viewer, SK Productions 18 from Instagram. Asks, do you yourself dislike the 9/11 theories, or you have any self-interest in them?
I absolutely fucking despise them.
Yeah, explain.
They always have these things where it was an inside job and this and that. And you watch the planes. Did you ever see the video of the French brothers that were there doing a documentary that were?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They had no
On the
idea.
bridge. Yeah.
And they caught the entire thing on video.
Oh yeah, there was people on the bridge, but there's also people on the street. I think those are the guys that were on.
Yeah,
the
they
street
were on the. They were following a fire department unit.
Yeah.
And they were videoing, a day in the life of a fucking hose humper, and
Right.
They hear this plane, they look up, and boom.
Right.
And everybody's, oh well, scientists say this about steel and this and that. Fuck you. I watched the plane fucking fly in the building. Go tell the 3,000 people that it was a fucking inside job, and tell all their families it was an inside job.
Right.
It that makes me angry.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take people that say that and just straight up throat punch them.
There's that.
I mean, I don't.
Right.
I'm a New York kid. I don't sugarcoat shit.
Right.
Boom.
Yeah. No.
Let me cave in your trachea for you. Have fun trying to breathe. Have a nice day.
Yeah. That'll help you breathe, maybe, when I'm done.
No.
No.
Right.
And it's the same. I saw this thing the other. It was probably a couple months ago, and where somebody was like, "Oh, 9/11, blah blah, get over it." The fuck you mean, get over it?
Get over it.
Right.
You weren't even born yet.
Yeah, and January 6th was nothing like 9/11 or fucking Pearl Harbor, so everyone needs to fucking retract that shit.
No shit.
I've hit
Dude,
one girl
come on
my
already.
entire life. One.
Unbelievable.
I was 10. It was my cousin, and she kicked me in my junk. It was instinct. I punched her. Kamala Harris could be number 2. That.
Yeah. And so okay, so what did you so your son wants to get into being a public servant as you've been your entire life. And so how do you explain to him, because you've seen it changed from being like it's like a good, like having a great union job, you're a fucking paramedic or a cop, and then then it was like hero elevated status for a little bit, and then everyone got back to normal, and then all of a sudden demonizing from the people who make the policies and blame it on the people that are doing. And
well, it's a
fulfilling
little
policies.
different with the as far as the medical side. They don't they don't get demonized as much,
Bro, dude, they're not. Well, they've been fired.
Yeah, well, they've been fired because of I don't want to get jabbed.
Exactly.
Fucking
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, that whole thing is bullshit. Anybody here is a fan of vaccines and believes the hype, well, too fucking bad. I think you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But as far as
I had that natural immunity thing that everyone was scared of.
Right.
oh my god,
Oh, but it just
Someone
came
goes
out
to me,
this week
you're
that
going
it's
to kill us
2.8.
all. You're going to
This
kill
was
us
great.
all.
I'm like, I got it in November of 2019. They're like, you didn't have it in 2019. I'm like, hey, dumbass, what do you think COVID-19 means?
Stop again with the making sense bullshit.
Story came out this week.
And here's the other thing. I've been going off on this always. It doesn't matter if people are right or wrong or whatever they're saying. Who cares? What's the number one thing everyone tells you to do when you have a big major medical decision that could impact you? What's the first thing they tell you to do? Hey,
Get a second opinion.
thank you. But now you can't have one?
No.
It doesn't matter if the opinion's right or wrong or goofy or from planet fucking 12.
Dude, one of the most premier
So
guys
it's
in the
very
in the
weird.
whole,
Science
What-
is about asking questions.
I can't remember his name right now. It won't come to my little pea brain.
Yeah.
But one of the scientists that was like key in the whole mRNA industry and science.
Dr. Malone, Robert Malone.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He got banned from YouTube.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, he's-
I'm sorry, this fucking guy invented it. What is wrong with you?
I know
Yeah,
he's
he,
lying.
he
He's
was
lying.
part of the team that invented it. Yeah, absolutely.
But because he has a differing opinion, we can't have that.
Right. Well, what the narrative now seems to be, people are mad at him because they think he's doing it to be vindictive because he's not in the application for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, yeah. Well, I lost all respect for that when they gave it to fucking Obama.
But
Oh, that was my outside voice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
don't
want
understand why he's got
PC
it
on
either,
this
but-
program, right?
What's that?
We take what we get, man.
I said you didn't want PC on this program, right? Because I'm not that guy.
Oh, I know you're not. I know you're not, bro.
Oh man,
Vince will take care of that in the
He's
editing
going to
room.
come on. He's going to talk about his Amish heritage, and he's going to play the Carpenters on acoustic dulcimer.
Right.
The Carpenters are a little too risky for me.
He's been
Man,
crocheting
they get-
lately. He's
they
going
do
to show
get
us some more
dark.
stuff.
But yeah,
My
it's
my
weird
daughter
that
had
you can't
COVID.
have an
She's
opinion
17
these
years
days.
old. My daughter had COVID.
Yeah.
When she was able to get it, she got the vaccine, the double shot.
Yeah.
Right.
She had COVID again 2 weeks ago.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
Hey,
it's out there, but
how many motherfuckers
there's
do
not
you
a
know
flu
that got
vaccine.
the polio vaccine have polio?
It's not a vaccine if it don't work. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah.
There's a difference between a shot and a vaccine.
Just
A
saying.
shot. Don't mind if I do.
Yeah, Rob. You got one
But,
loaded up
it's
next
just
to you.
weird.
don't
It's just weird that you're, ostracized from asking a question, and then you explain to people who have no medical background, and they're like, "Oh, yeah,
Well,
like I
Vince,
want to fucking
hey.
okay, Karen from fucking Target Cashier Center, fucking."
Oh, I
Hey,
saw
wait,
her
wait,
today.
wait.
No lie. I was in Target and saw the fucking Karen. Oh my
You know.
god.
But you know what I mean? They're like, I know that blah 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 blah. I'm like, have you passed the A&P 101 final? No, then shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
But they watch CNN.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well-
crazy.
Hey, you can watch CNN and learn how to jerk off.
Right.
Oh, I thought the cat
you
was
can
off.
learn
I'm
that by
sorry.
accident.
Yeah.
Like we all did.
Yeah. Right? Rob said he was sleepwalking in college. I don't know. That's the story.
I don't believe it. He wasn't hovering over your bed late at night, was he?
Right?
Vince?
Yeah.
2 witnesses, right?
Like, God damn it, Jason, where's my Cheryl Teague's book?
Yeah.
Speaking of hovering over the bed,
Here we go.
in basic training, we had this
Is this
one
another
guy,
Franny
everybody
story?
hated him. Everybody hated him. He was just one of those jerk off guys. And karma came visiting.
Ooh.
We had another guy everybody called Schleprock, right? Because he was a goofy, big-eared, ugly, nice guy though. Sick as a dog, laying in his bunk. So the guy everybody hated comes over and he starts taking pictures with his junk hanging over his face while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
The drill sergeant walked in,
Ah.
Uh-oh.
kicked his ass out because this was 1988. Kicked his ass out for being gay, and he wasn't. But
Right.
You're just
hello,
fucking around.
karma said fuck you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
Now, did he
It just
kick him
made me-
out of the army for being gay after he kicked his ass and then raped him behind the fucking barracks?
Well, we thought about doing that with a broomstick, but
Oh, my goodness.
That was
Oh, my goodness.
1989.
That would have been a clean sweep.
yeah. And then, well, we had some good times in basic training. Whew.
Okay, so how are
That's
you
relatively
explaining
speaking.
to your son like the difference between being a public servant now versus that? Because even
he's
in
grown up
being in
with
the
it.
aura of you're around the police, all the time, so shit could happen to you because you're around cops or whatever, yada yada yada. And maybe
my
they're
son's
not.
grown up with it.
Yeah.
He's been around all of it his whole life.
Right.
I was an EMT and a paramedic when he was born. He watched me work, and his mom was also an EMT for a little while, and she worked in a doctor's office.
Yeah.
So he's heard the stories, and he's seen me come home pissed
Right.
off or covered in whatever the fuck I was covered in, and then
Right.
he knew me as a cop, and the shit like that. And I'm pretty lucky. Both my kids are really smart. They're definitely smarter than I am, and they see both sides. Like my son kind of leans toward the liberal side sometimes, and we'll have arguments about stuff. And he's like, "Well, Dad, this cop did this or that." I'm like, "Yeah, he absolutely did. But what you don't see is this is why he did it." Oh, okay. And I'm just like, "Look, you get into this. One, if you're working in Jersey, you're going to wear a vest." And he said, "Well, why do I got to wear a vest?" I said, "Because people don't see the car you came in. They see a uniform.
Right.
And they're going to shoot. So you're going to wear a vest. You have a daughter now. It's not about you. It's about your daughter."
Right.
And he takes advice really well, but he's smart enough to know when I'm right and when I'm not. And usually I'm right. And I'm pretty lucky he's just got a really good head on his shoulders, and he understands that there's people that don't like us, and he understands that, well, they're idiots that don't have the whole story, or they're idiots that are just swallowing the narrative hook, line, and sinker. And he's like, "Dad, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I don't care what this person thinks or what that person thinks. I want to do this. And I don't care if they like me or not. I'm still going to help them."
Right.
The second he said that, I knew he was good.
Right.
Because I don't care if you like me.
Right.
I don't care if you voted for the same guy I voted for. I don't care if you like the same cereal I like. I don't.
Right. It shouldn't matter.
At this juncture right here,
Yeah.
I have a job to do, and I'm going to do it. Afterwards, we can have a fucking debate all day long.
Right. And when I hear people go, "Oh, I'm boycotting this because this person who's on the board of whatever," I'm like, "Oh my god."
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
I'm like, how many? I mean, do you, like when you go into the restaurant, do you like kick open the door? Who'd you vote for?
Yeah.
No. Can you make a good fucking sauce?
Yeah.
That's all
That's
I
what-
care about. Are you a great
Yeah.
cook? Is the food good? I don't care who you
Well,
fucking vote.
that's what the military is good for. That when young people join the service, you basically are focused on getting the job done and helping each other. Doesn't matter what walk of life you came from or what your belief system is.
Yep.
And one of the best experiences, in my opinion, military service is focusing on getting along with lots of different people.
Right.
And just do the job and appreciate everyone's difference, because everybody brings some pretty cool stuff to the table.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, me, Jason, and Rob come from rock and roll, and that's man.
Well, if we're going to talk
Entertainment,
music, there is
just
a
the people
difference.
there.
Okay, rock and roll
Oops.
and heavy metal are the best, bar none.
Sorry about that.
What's that, Michael? Say that again.
I said if we're going to talk about music, rock and heavy metal are the best.
Yep.
Grunge can suck it. And
I agree.
we're done.
I agree. There were some really good bands that were coming out that just got squashed because of the grunge thing.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Michael, I like your spirited speech. You just let it fly. We need more of that.
Absolutely.
EMS and cop.
Yeah.
I have no filter. None.
So, being that you're also a law enforcement officer, does Jason look like 80% of your arrest sheet?
Wait, no
give it about
tattoos.
20%'s Rob.
Yeah, 60% it's the trailer park domestic violence thing.
Oh yeah, definitely Jason.
Poster boy for trailer park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that
Mike,
job has, I have had so many funny calls being a cop. It's
Oh, I bet. Lay them on us, man. Let's hear them.
probably the funniest one ever.
Oh, good.
My favorite call, and this call was 18 years ago. That's how long it stuck with me. It was a Tuesday night at like 2:00 on a Tuesday morning, and I get a call for a single car accident. That's one of two things: you're drunk, or you fell asleep.
Yeah.
That's it. Because it was not raining, it was not snowing, it was dry as a bone.
Yeah.
It's the only two things it can be. So
Alien.
I go, and I come around this turn. As I'm coming around the turn, I see all these cars on either side of the road with dents in them.
Uh-oh.
And then I get around the turn, and I see this piece of junk Ford Aerostar minivan in the middle of the road.
Uh-oh.
He had ping-ponged off all these cars.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like
Every
some George
fluid in the
Pickle was
van
involved there.
is on the ground. And all you hear is, he's trying to start it. So I walk up and I tap on the window, and the window goes down. And let me turn around. Window goes down, and I get this. Hey. I said, and it's this little short Mexican guy, right? And I said, bro, what are you doing? No lie, this is a direct quote. Well, think I want to be here when you get here. Had this dude not hit a bunch of people's cars, like if he'd just went off the road or hit a tree or a bush or something, I'd have taken him home. Just for being that honest.
Right.
I don't want to be here when you get here.
You couldn't argue with that. Okay?
Right.
'Cause I'd have said the
Did
same
you like
thing.
belly laugh and like not
Oh.
breathe?
Absolutely hilarious. And then, this one was kind of funny, kind of not funny. I had been cut loose probably 2 or 3 months. I went through the police academy, went through my field training, and now I'm on my own, right? Me against the world.
Yeah.
And this was probably the exact call that was a reason why I didn't become a cop till I was later in life. get a call for a father-son domestic. And I get there, and the father was supposed to be tuning up the kid. So I get there, and, well, the kid couldn't sleep. So Dad decided it'd be a good idea to choke him out to get him to go to sleep. Huh, okay. Well, the kid couldn't sleep because he was on psych meds. What's that?
Were they in jujitsu?
No. He was just a piece of shit.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
And so the kid couldn't sleep because he was taking psych meds. Now, the kid is like 13. And he was taking psych meds, and a lot of the psych meds make it where you can't sleep. Sometimes you can't eat. Sometimes you can't sleep. You know. Why was he taking psych meds at 13, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Because he was a little fucked up in the head watching Mommy and Daddy die from drug-induced AIDS. So Dad decided it would be a good idea to choke him out instead. So, okay. Now I'm a little bit angry.
Right.
So I got this father up against the wall with my arm right here. Now I'm kind of choking him a little bit. Statute of limitations is up, so nobody can touch me. And I'm telling him, if I come back to this house again because you put your hands on this child, I am going to skull drag you down all 3 flights of stairs. And as I'm saying this, in the corner of my eye, I see movement. And I realize it's my sergeant. Now, mind you, I'm cut loose 3 months. Brand new. Haven't even been a cop yet. So I kind of brush him off and straighten his shirt out. Hey, we good? Okay, great. Walk downstairs. Get outside in the parking lot and look at my sergeant. I said, so how much trouble am I in? He says, for what? I said, I know you heard everything I said up there and saw it. He goes, you'd have been in trouble if you didn't. Get in the car. Have a nice day.
Right.
Yeah. So there's 1,000 stories like that. And then there's 1,000 more stories of, you know what? I sat with some little old lady who has Alzheimer's who thought somebody was trying to break in her house.
Right.
But I'll sit there with her for 45 minutes and make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and now I'm a sergeant, so I get to herd cats. And, you know, and I tell them, when the little old lady needs you to sit there, sit there.
Yeah, sit there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Call me and tell me you're going to be tied up for a minute and sit there.
Yeah.
If somebody needs to go to jail, take them the fuck to jail.
Right.
You know, I'm lucky being down here. It's not like New York or New Jersey or LA. We're still allowed to be cops here.
Nice.
You know,
It's where are you at? What?
I'm on the
Where
Gulf
do you
Coast
work?
of Mississippi, a city called Pascagoula.
Okay, cool.
You know, I am literally 15 minutes from the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
You know, I can drive to the
Very
beach,
good.
drive to casinos, whatever I want to do. But we're still allowed to be cops down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, which
It's
sounds
weird
funny,
that cop has
but
become a dirty word.
it really has. You know,
You know, like
And-
everyone knows there's bad cops, but that's the minority.
It's rare.
Come on, can we
Rare.
fucking?
Well, those are the ones that are in the news and circulate on social media. I mean, there's some horrific stories, but you know that all the good stories and all the things the cops that are out there and helping and saving lives, and
you know,
Making
there was a.
it's not newsworthy. It doesn't shock.
Propaganda.
I like. I don't know if you have ever watched any of the PragerU.
I listen to
videos.
Dennis.
Oh, Dennis Prager.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prager
he's a-
University and all that.
Yeah, Dennis Prager is pretty interesting.
And
He does a lot
I
of
forget
stuff
what
with
I
Adam
forget what
Carolla.
the one woman's name is that does a lot of stuff for them. But she did this whole thing on breaking down the numbers. You know, there are 30 million police civilian contacts a year,
Mm-hmm.
and breaks it down all the way down, you know, to the point where there's 0.01% of cops and interactions that are actually criminal out of 30 million contacts a year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the ones that get put out there.
Yeah.
Like Derek Chauvin was fucking wrong.
Yeah.
He was wrong. He should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And he got what he deserved. But that doesn't mean you get to burn a fucking city down.
Right.
Right.
You know, and that doesn't mean
I'm sorry,
you get to
but to me, peaceful demonstration.
That's a
not a
cornerstone
new
of this
word for
country.
arson. That's just protest all you want. I don't care. People protest all fucking day.
do it.
Go ahead. Right on. Right on.
Exactly.
Right on. But the second you start burning shit and destroying stuff, you're not protesting anymore.
The one video clip that got me the most about all that back, like with the Minnesota stuff and Ferguson and all those, was this 65-year-old black man standing there going, "Why are you doing this to me?
Right.
This is my business. I am one of you people. Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck.
Dude, there was a great video when shit was breaking out in Chicago. They never got to the South Side. You know why? Because all the old timers, the 60-year-old dudes on the South Side,
They'll smoke you.
Yeah.
oh, they're like, yeah,
They're like the rooftop
they ain't
Koreans.
coming down here.
That's like the rooftop Asians during the riots in LA.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I lived right in Koreatown.
They sat
My
on the roof
windshield
and
was
said,
shot
"Nope,
out.
not today."
Yeah, I lived right off of Crenshaw. Yeah,
Well, they were a lot of them were ex-military too.
Yeah.
Crenshaw Olympic. Yeah,
They were ready to go.
right.
Yeah, Michael, I when I was much younger, I wanted to go into police service and join the military and
And then you
was
got
in
a
the
brain.
EMT.
Said no.
Well, no, here's what happened. I was a police youth auxiliary in high school. My mom worked at the police department. Used to ride around on patrol. Had a radio, and it was very interesting. Got to know all the cops, but I joined the military. Ended up as a corpsman, and then I specialized. I did A school, hospital corps school, and then I specialized C school as a neuropsychiatric technician, basically a psychiatric nursing.
Right.
And worked on the psychiatric intensive care unit at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. It was the largest psych facility in the military. We got all the worst cases there. And I worked the intensive care unit out of four
This is the point he
wards.
tells me I should be committed.
But I began to make the connection working with the psychiatric patients, that when I was thinking about my patrol, with the cops in high school, I began to realize that much of their time was taken up with dealing with psychiatric patients on the streets. Again and again and again. They'd make an arrest, they'd get a call, they'd have to pull the person aside, talk to them. Hey, listen, George, don't keep walking into the restaurant, 5, 6, 7 times a night. You can't do that. Let me drive you somewhere. People that needed psychiatric intervention or medication or help, but the system it just wasn't serving them right. And I thought to myself, I don't think I could be a patrolman and without all the tools I have working in the hospital to take care of these people. I don't think I could do it now. So I didn't go back.
Yeah.
The psychiatric care system in this country is absolutely criminal.
It is, especially in New York City.
It's all over. It's not just New York City. It's all over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
mental health the shortage is abysmal.
It's crazy.
Go ahead.
The shortage of actual care.
Yeah.
The ones that do the care, most of them, they're in it for the Medicare, Medicaid. They get a yep, I saw them. Here's my bill.
Yeah.
You take them to the ER, and this is not to slam people in the ER, because I've worked with ER people most of my adult life.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the capability to work with them either. they do what's called treat them and street them, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I have locked up somebody, not
Mhm.
because they necessarily did something really criminal,
Yeah.
but to get them off the street and get them somewhere where they're safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So I'll go. Yep. You know what?
Give him a second to
Disorderly
breathe.
conduct. I'm going to put him in jail for the night, so he's at least off the street. He's not hurting anybody else or hurting himself.
Exactly.
And you know, and I won't even get into the whole juvenile psych system.
No,
'cause
but where you're at, how do you do a psychiatric hold? How can or is
they
it up
don't
to others?
like New York was awesome. If I thought that somebody was truly a danger to themselves or others, I could lock them up and put them in the hospital under the New York State mental health law. And that was a mandatory 72-hour hold. And they'd have to see somebody.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that down here.
Mm.
You know, I can't treat them in the ER. Here's your psych referral.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
You know,
The
and
Florida's
most
got
of
a
them are-
Baker Act. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like New York's, but
most of them
again,
are
it's just
homeless.
temporary. Yeah.
You know, most
These
of them are
people need
homeless.
long-term treatment.
And then you run into the problem where a lot of states, they need psych meds, but you know what? You can't force them to take them
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
because now you're violating the civil rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, what was that?
a lot of states, you can't force psychiatric patients when they're out on their own
Or
to
any
take their
patient,
meds.
or any patients, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah. Well,
but
except.
exactly. Unless,
Yeah.
I would like
unless it's
that
a
yes song
vaccine.
roundabout, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we should start labeling these psych meds as vaccines. And,
You know, I
Right.
love to tell this story because I was at Walgreens. I don't know if you have Walgreens where you're at, Mike.
Yep,
Okay, so
we're not
I'm
that
at
country.
Walgreens. Yeah, and I'm picking up a prescription for my mom, who's elderly, of course. 'cause-
Sure you are.
Right. Yeah,
Medication.
picking up my Ambisol.
Uh-huh.
So this lady comes up to me. She's like, "Oh, are you vaccinated?" And I go, "Hey, did you get your pap smear?" She goes, "Excuse me?" I said, "Exactly. None of your fucking business. Get this." I don't get it. You know, everyone should have medical privacy, whatever your view is on whatever. I don't care because you're entitled to your view.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. You know, whatever. Everyone's too fucking uptight. You know.
Well, it
Everyone's
is
taking a
interesting
dive
is-
with that coal in their asshole.
Yeah, we've sort of just ditched the HIPAA rules, you know? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we taught.
HIPAA only
Throwing those
applies when
out.
it's convenient.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, "Hey, did you get vaccinated?" I'm like, "Do you have cancer?"
Yeah, right.
They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that stupid?"
Sorry, I'm moving around.
I mean,
My
if I
phone
spit
gave me
in
the-
your mouth or something, sure, you can ask me a question, but
Hey, this
Jesus
is a
Christ,
fucking
you know.
family show.
A dysfunctional family.
Well, that's the only kind I have, you know.
That's the only one I want to be part of.
We got the
Dude,
R
my
rating
mom would trip
label
on that
early
growing
on.
up. I want to have a normal family, like
Like-
on TV. I'm like, that's fucking
Too
make
late.
believe.
Too late,
Dysfunctional
Mom.
is normal.
Oh my
Normal
God,
scares
exactly.
me.
Unbelievable. So I have a question for you, Michael.
Yes, sir.
You went from, so you've dealt with 3 different types of high intensity, mentally impactful careers.
Yeah.
So how was it going from each different type of trauma? Because when they see you, you're part of the experience of you're either welcomed or you're not, or people are scared or they're not scared. You know, how did that change for you?
Well, and you know, I told my son this when he was asking me about getting into the business, and I said, you know, it sounds kind of cheesy and kind of corny, but when I was a medic, I thrived on the really hot calls, the ones where you either do something or shit's going to go really bad.
Right.
And I always had this thought in my head where I would have this conversation with death. And I said, you know what? Fuck you. You can't have this one. He's mine. And I always went into it with that mentality, and I worked that much harder.
Okay.
And I would do whatever I could do. And there was many times I'd walk in because there's certain things we can do, certain things we can't do. And I knew what doctors I had in the ER. And I could tell them, hey, I did this and I did that. They're like, all right, whatever. It worked. Have a nice day.
Right.
Where other medics that maybe didn't have the same experience or whatever would get in trouble. And then when it comes to police work, most people don't like me. I know that.
Yeah.
And I tell the new kids coming in, I'm like, you got to understand, you're coming into somebody's life at probably one of the worst possible moments you could enter it.
Right.
And they're going to see you as either a threat or a savior.
Right.
And your actions and your words and how you say your words is going to determine the outcome of that call. I tell them all the time, I said, you know, the best advice was from a movie. Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Right.
Name the movie.
I've heard it. I can't remember it.
Oh,
Don't
you
know.
guys suck at life.
Hold on. It sounds mobby.
Nope.
It's mobby, isn't it? No?
Nope.
Be nice until you don't have to be nice.
Patrick Swayze.
Oh, is this
Oh,
from
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Okay. What's the word again?
Be nice
the line?
until it's time to not be nice.
Yep.
You be nice until it's not time to be nice.
It is the absolute perfect advice for this job.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and like I said, you're coming into these people's lives, whether it's EMS or police work or whatever. It's not a good day for them.
Right.
So take that in consideration. You know,
Sure.
and you know, you may be arresting this person.
Right.
Maybe you're not. Maybe you're dealing with a domestic violence victim or a robbery victim or whatever. They're going to be fucking angry. They're going to be upset. They're going to be hurt.
Right.
Learn to deal with it. If you have thin skin, this is not the job for you.
Right.
But that being said, don't take shit off anybody either.
Right. You know, like one of my friends got popped for like basically fucking with the cop when she was drunk at a bar. He was dealing with someone else, and she thought it would be wise to impart her wisdom on the police officer.
Bad move.
And she's like, I can't fucking be fucked, you know. And I'm like,
Diane.
Chrissy, I'm like, do you know what the most dangerous thing to a male is? She's like, what? I go, a drunk woman. And if you're a cop, it's even worse. You know, because it's a dangerous. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. It's just like
you know
anyone
what the most
else.
dangerous call for a cop is?
What's that?
Domestic violence.
Right.
Oh yeah, because everyone's heated and they've lost their fucking mind.
And you're there. It happens all the time. Wifey, girlfriend, whatever, calls because she's getting her ass beat. You get there. You determine that you're going to lock up hubby boyfriend. And while you're trying to do that, guess who's jumping on your back, putting a knife in your neck?
My
Don't
sister.
you take my honey away?
Right.
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
One of my guys a couple of years ago. This was 2 or 3 years ago. One of my rookies, I called him my Padawan. He was like my little brother.
Oh,
Great kid, great cop.
look at Jason's fucking hammered. Look at him.
Hey, does he have eyeballs?
What, you start early there, buddy?
There they are.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
About 3 o'clock. Something like that. Hey,
Hey.
it's my
This
first
kid,
day off.
You know,
I'll drink it.
All right. we have to interject shit giving every once in a while. you know?
Oh yeah, well, I'm still trying to find Jason's fucking eyes.
Nice.
But me and my lieutenant, I'm a sergeant at this point. Me and my lieutenant are in the station handling something, and I can hear the radio in the background. It sounds like something's a little heated, whatever. Next thing I know, I hear shots fired.
Oof.
And me and my lieutenant run each other over trying to get to our cars. And there's no doubt in my mind that on the way to this call, I was on two wheels at times. No doubt. I would bet my next fucking mortgage payment on it. And we're trying to find out how the shots were fired, who fired the shots, who was fired at. And while we're en route, we hear that my young Padawan had to shoot this guy.
Mm.
And me and my lieutenant pull up at the same time. You know when you throw your car in park too fast and it goes because you haven't stopped yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did that for about 30 fucking feet because I was nowhere near stopped when I throw it in park.
Yeah.
And I jump out of the car and I see my boy. And he looks at me. And it was one of the most heartbreaking moments in the world for me because he looked at me and says, I tried. And he didn't give me a choice. And he started bawling. A 25-year-old man started bawling. Until you've done that and seen that, all that stuff you were asking me about before, about, what do you say to people who say this and that? Come do that call.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was in this house and I watched the video and it was a father and son. Now the son was 25 years old. He'd been a psych patient his entire life since he was 14. He was a bipolar, in and out of hospitals. We'd been there many times. Came at my cop with a knife. And he had no choice. He asked him, stop moving, drop the knife, stop moving.
You can't
4
let him
times
stab
he told
you
him
and
to
still
stop.
ask him. You got to stop him.
Yeah, 4 times.
Fortunately, right.
And he shot him.
Right.
And he did what he had to do.
Yeah.
Until one of those people who say the things they say
Sure.
has to sit with that young man and talk to him and talk him down off a ledge multiple times that he did the right thing. I don't give a shit what you say.
Right. I often tell people when they're complaining, I'm like, have you ever done a ride along? Have you ever had a gun pointed at you?
Yeah.
And, it's always no.
No.
I'm like, well, maybe you should go on a defense course and, maybe go through this thing. And so you can be in those shoes and maybe, whatever it is, put your money where your mouth is or shut the fuck up. They
don't want to do that.
It's not a light, like the stupidest idea ever. You know what? Okay. Are the social workers here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are the social workers here? Jesus Christ, where are the social workers? Now, social workers.
Steve, go on mute. Go on mute, Steve.
Speaking as an ex-foster kid, most of those social
I wasn't a
workers
social
are
worker.
at fucking Dunkin' Donuts.
What's that? Sorry, Michael.
I said, speaking as an ex-foster kid, most of those social workers at the fucking Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
Yeah. I've had some positive experiences, but also negative as well. But
Well, towards the end, like I said, I grew up with Jason, and the
I'm
foster
sorry.
home I was in, I was there through all of high school.
Yeah. Norm and Irma, right?
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
right.
And
They were good
I
peeps.
still, God bless Norm, he's passed on a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
but I still call them mom and dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Is Irma still with us? Mike?
Yeah, she lives in Tennessee.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a foster kid house down the street from us growing up, and it was well known. It was just a cash grab. Like, Dad had done, I think, 10 years for bank robbery. He was a locksmith. You know, he got caught with a bunch of diamonds. Yada yada yada. Hey, I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Don't nothing. I'm just saying. Never mind. So anyway,
Don't nobody want to know about that.
yeah. So we'd go and like, you know, hey, you want to go with us to the store? Yeah, sure. What the fuck? You know, it's 1979, whatever. So hop in the car. And there's 10 kids in the house. They're getting 10 different checks.
Yeah.
We're grabbing lettuce out of the fucking dumpsters and back because they knew when they'd throw the lettuce out that they wouldn't keep for the next day.
Yep. Let me tell you something, bro.
You know,
I didn't know until I went to live with Norm and Irma. I've been in and out of foster homes for years.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I was given a clothing allowance.
Right.
Oh, they're pocketing it.
Yeah. I was wearing the
man,
Skippies
it's
that they
bizarre.
the fucking rack at ShopRite.
Yeah.
You know, and I
that's
used
a
to hang
shame.
out with a bunch of the kids because they would come. A bunch of kids would come through. You know, and I was the only kid on the street. You know, the Catholic divorced family. You know.
1 second, I'll be right back. You guys continue the conversation.
Yeah. So this foster family. So I'd be friends with these guys, and usually they're rockers and you know shit like that, and burnouts, quote unquote. You know, because whatever the life they led, or whatever. But so I'm like, hey, Ricky, hey, let's go cruise into town at 10. He goes, oh, dude, I got to move the wood pile. I'm like, what? So they would have this wood pile. It would be 3 like 2-foot logs, thick, 20 feet long. Saturday morning, they woke up all the kids at 6 a.m. so they could move the fucking wood pile and then move it back.
I'm going to try that tomorrow. My kids are here this weekend.
Yeah, good luck to even do that with a fucking Pepsi and a dirty dish.
I need some chainsaw work done. Come on, bring them over here.
Yeah.
All different
I
weird.
gotta cut
types
some
of shit
trees
like
down.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
We can give them saws, hand saws instead. That'll keep them busy.
And
for a
one
while.
guy even like I gave my whole paycheck and I bought him a train ticket and I fucking got him out of town and sent him to his uncle.
Really?
Oh yeah, cops are over at the house swarming it. Where the I don't know. Why you coming asking me?
Right. I'm telling you, man.
Do I look like a delinquent?
In those days, maybe.
Oh, definitely.
With that
In 1 year, I got pulled over 275 times, and I didn't even have my fucking license yet.
Good.
Where was this?
I counted in Chicago, in Downers Grove here.
275 times?
Yep. Everywhere.
You heard that in your sleep, right?
Oh my God! They tried busting me because I always crouched my weed. They couldn't get me, and they wanted me to be a narc because I knew everybody.
Yeah.
So, in our town, we had this place where like 250 to 300 people on the regular, not counting when we had parties, would hang out at this one place called the Barn.
Yeah.
And so me and my guys were kind of like the security for the Barn. And it was all the ragtags and the latchkey kids and the misfits.
Yeah.
And so we would collect all the money for the stuff and we'd also protect everyone. But the cops left us alone because they knew all the rowdy and rock and rollers were in one fucking spot.
Yeah. So
they didn't fuck with us. So a cop would pull up at the end of the driveway. Someone would come let me know. And then I would walk out. I'm like, who do you need? Well, we have to take in this person. Da, da, da. I'm like, can we bail him out? They'd be like, yeah. And Tom would come with me. I'm like, Tom, pass the hat. I'm like, what do we need? He's like, $38. I'm like, get $38. So I'd go back and get Tom, or Tom would go back, pass the hat. I'd go get the guy, bring him out to the cop. So the cop didn't come in and, they didn't care about anyone else that, we weren't doing anything really. And then we'd bring the kid out and I would follow him down to the police station, bail him out and bring him back to the party.
Yeah. It's a good system.
Yeah. But I was talking about there was a foster house down the street from me growing up. And like I would call my buddy and at 6 a.m, they'd move a wood pile, like 3 2-foot sections thick times 20 feet. They'd have to move it and then move it back.
Wow.
Before they could go out. Like just as something to do.
Yeah, I had
Crazy.
the one I ended up in where I met Jason and grew up. You know, I was really lucky. They treated me like I was their own kid.
Yeah,
That's
You know,
nice.
as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Yeah,
I got
you
my
were
first
fortunate.
I got my first stereo system. You know, it was a little Sears, whatever their Sears brand was back in the 80s. I think it was like Optimus or some shit.
Realistic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Realistic,
radio
that was it.
What was it?
Realistic.
realistic.
Yeah.
They bought me a stereo. You know, I had a double tape deck and a turntable and speakers, and
Silver
I'll never
face.
forget that. You know,
With the
and-
wood vinyl sticker on the top. Around
Yeah,
the
boy.
Yeah, baby.
and
Flower
of
top.
course, you know, I bought some extra speakers from friends and ran like extra speaker wires and shit. You know, stuff you should never do, but I did it.
I did that too.
I had 4
I got the
speakers
wire
connected to this thing.
that the local telephone repair guys, every time they were out front,
Oh, yeah.
I'd
Can I
go
have
out
some of
there.
that
Can I
wire?"
have some wire, man? Oh yeah. You know, they were always cutting it. Take it. You know, I'd take his. You know, and I was wiring speakers and
Mm-hmm.
surprised they didn't start a fire.
But
You hear that
you
echo,
know,
Vince?
but
Yeah,
when I
it's
say they
Jason
treated
with
me
his-
like-
I know. You need to
headphones
talk to
again.
him again. Again.
Jason, the audio engineer, keeps leaving the fucking headphones next to his microphone, and it's echoing.
typical
We've
audio guy.
Oh,
We've given him
Exactly.
shit 3 episodes in a row for this.
Exactly.
Well, you know, Rob, we are all getting old, you know.
no, it's genius because it covers up the sound of the toilet and the
Yeah.
piss in the ball.
Like, yeah, when I went there.
But he
that
doesn't know
loop.
that. But he doesn't
Yeah.
know that.
Mine is on the
Oh,
other side of the
okay,
room.
all right.
Mine's on the other
Just
side
a
of
lucky-
the house, so you didn't hear me. That's why I had to run. There's an old saying: you don't buy beer, you just rent it.
Right?
No
Just
kidding.
passing through.
Yeah.
Mhm. It did.
Yeah,
So,
he
Michael,
must
did you-
move rooms? Otherwise, he'd just be pissing out the back door.
Hey, it's my
Michael,
yard. I
did
do
you-
what I want.
You joined the you went into the Army right after high school. Is that what you said?
Well, I was still technically in high school. I took my GED, and
Oh, okay,
And,
that's right.
I should have graduated June of '88. I took my
Yeah.
GED in January of '88 and got out
Okay.
because
Cool.
I was not. To give you an idea of the kind of student I was,
If
I
we
was
haven't known
born-
already.
well, I was born lucky. I've never failed a test in my life unless I did it on purpose.
Uh-huh.
If I read it or write it, I tend to remember it.
Cool.
But I was fucking bored.
Right.
And I basically told the teacher one day, like, you know, midterms are next week. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, you haven't done any homework. I said, what's my test average? A 97. So, well, apparently I understand the fucking material. I'm not going to justify your position by doing business work. And she looked at me like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm done. I'm taking my GED. I maxed my GED and
Yeah.
off I went.
Yeah. Good call.
And,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
I took my
I was,
ASVAB and I had a 120 GT score on my ASVAB. I think the highest you could get was like 125.
Yeah.
And basically could do any job in the Army I wanted to do.
Right.
And I got snowed into doing this because recruiters are the worst creatures on the planet.
Yeah.
And this recruiter showed me all this bullshit, and I was 17, and I was like, yeah, that's the stuff right there.
Yeah.
It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
You didn't have anybody coaching you on that stuff, huh?
No.
Yeah.
And
I was
I actually
fortunate.
called-
I
I called
sorry, go
my
ahead.
recruiter from basic training. I said,
Yeah.
when I get out, I'm coming to find you.
You know, I
And
was
I did.
fortunate.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
if next week you leave the headphones in between your mic and it echoes, you have to wear the fucking troll outfit. The garden gnome outfit for an entire episode.
Whoa!
Yeah.
There's a troll outfit.
Oh yeah.
I want him to wear. I want to do a bunch of skits of Jason walks around the forest and like in various towns with him in the garden gnome outfit.
I'll do that. Fuck.
Yeah, I'll do it too.
Where did I sign up?
I gotta
You're
wear
already
like,
part of the family, brother.
I need to wear lederhosen though too, and
Right.
you know.
Oh yeah, man
Hey,
in the boat.
hey, Jason,
Roll
beat
with
this.
lederhosen?
For you, by the way.
Well,
Beat-
that's
beat
The
this
interesting.
address. What's that?
Before I came to Roscoe, I was in a foster home in Monticello.
Yeah,
It was a emergency foster home. It was a temporary thing. They were good people.
yeah.
And the dude, his name was Harry. He was actually a Sullivan County sheriff, worked the courthouse. And I lost a bet. I had made a bet with them that I was going to quit smoking, and I signed this whole contract thinking I was fucking smart.
Yeah.
And fast forward, I wasn't. And in it, it said I would not touch. Remember that word? Touch a cigarette.
Yeah.
So, me being a smart ass, I picked up a cigarette. I got it in my mouth. I'm like, oh, I'm not smoking it, blah, blah, blah. And they went, oh, yeah, hey, genius.
Yeah.
Read that again. You touched a cigarette. And if I lost the bet, what I had to do was run down Main Street in Monticello
In Monticello.
That's funny because I have something similar. Go ahead. Yeah.
in a diaper.
Oh.
Of course, I'm 15, so a diaper doesn't fit me.
Right.
They took a white towel and pinned that shit to me, and I'm running down Main Street in Monticello in October in nothing but this fucking towel.
Right.
And he was a Sullivan County sheriff, so he called up his boys. And he says, hey, this white kid's going to be running down Main Street.
Oh no.
Go mess with him and make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah.
I'm running as fast as a white kid can run. And this patrol car rolls up next to me. The passenger side window goes down and says, son, you ain't running fast enough. I have never run so fast in my entire life.
And for you guys that don't know, Monticello in our county, that's it's a little rough. Yeah, it's rough.
Gotcha. So our main street's like 3 blocks long, whatever. And so I had a bet about quitting smoking.
That worked.
And so it was me and my buddy Rick, and we both, a month. And if whoever breaks it, you have to literally walk down for an hour during the car show on Friday night dressed as, what's it like, from Mary Had a Little Lamb with the fucking thing and the blonde wig.
Little
and
Bo
the
Peep.
whole- Yeah. So it's like day 28, and I don't see him. And then I see something on the news. I'm like, what? And I'm like, that last name. And I'm like, dude, is that your brother? He's like, yeah. And well, his brother, there was a case where there was, his brother was taking care of their grandchild from a person who had the daughter had a drug problem. And was basically the kid was going to go back to that situation after 8 years from being a baby.
Ugh.
And them having for 8 years. And he took the family out and himself out.
Oh.
God.
And my buddy Rick is such a pure, like, genuine good guy. He goes, yeah, and I had a cigarette. I'm like, dude, do you really think I'm going to make you fucking walk down Main Street dressed like Mary Had a Little Lamb? I'm like, dude, get out of here. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I'll go do it for him now.
Yeah, right. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, there's no way. But, it's
I see that shit so many times, man. I just had a call a month ago. The dude took his daughter. Now, he didn't have custody of his daughter, not because it was just a court thing. He wasn't just physical custody was awarded to the mom. It was one of those things. He wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
He had some problems in the past, this, that, and the other. Nothing major. Well, he wasn't giving his daughter back because his daughter, he took her to the hospital. She'd been assaulted.
Mm.
And child services shows up and calls us because he doesn't want to give the daughter back. And I look at this child services person. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
You're going to take this little girl and put her back in the same spot where she just got
In harm's way.
sexually assaulted? And he had paperwork from the hospital because he did the right thing. Took her to the hospital, had her examined by somebody who does that.
Right.
And it was,
The abuser
she
did
has
this?
been sexually assaulted. I'm like, you're lucky he hasn't put a bullet in your fucking head.
Yeah.
Why are you calling me?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make him give his child to you.
No.
Right.
You better call somebody else because I'm not the one.
Yep.
Right.
And, well, you have to. I said, there's two things in this world I have to do. It's be white and die.
Pay taxes.
Everything else is a choice, and I choose not to.
Yeah.
So, bye.
Yeah.
I hate
Holy
that shit.
shit.
Oh,
Yeah.
Looks like you changed up your beer, Mike.
yeah, I went with a little German this time.
What you got?
Oh, it's a little ambery. Got some floaties in there. What you
Yeah,
drink?
it's a Marzen.
What is it?
Oh,
Marsden?
Ah, there you go.
yeah, it's like a.
That looks good.
Is that a local microbrew or something?
Where's this one out of?
It's a Ballhawk beer. It's probably
This
Germany.
is out
Switch
of,
up.
It's a lager.
It's.
Oh, slow down.
Fuga.
Slow down, Steve. Slow down.
Hey, give your give your mom her shirt back.
Touche.
Wait, hold on. What size are you? Because maybe I'll wear it.
Mike's busting balls already. First, hey,
Bro, have
we're putting
met
you
me?
on the return guest list, by the way, man. I hope you're having.
I'm equal opportunity, man.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Creativity talking is like hanging out
Yeah.
on the couch, man. You know?
Congratulations, Mike. You're going to be a regular co-host from now
Yeah,
on. So.
it's a you know.
Hey, you know
the
what
whole
that
point
means,
of this
though,
show
right?
is to have fun.
Now,
you know?
now you're costing me fucking money, bro. I got to go buy a microphone and a headset and all this bullshit.
I don't know, man. Your phone sounds good. Don't
Yeah.
bother. Yeah.
Well, I guess iPhone did something right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with slave labor.
Hey, right?
Right.
You
Dude.
know, and people are gonna freak out on that
There he
comment, even
goes.
though that everyone
There he
knows
goes,
it's filled
dude.
with slave labor. I'm not pro slave labor. I just
Yeah.
happen to have an iPhone.
My sole purpose on Twitter is every time Nike posts something, I go, hey, how much did that cost those children?
Exactly.
I will not buy you're talking about people boycotting this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
Most times I'm not really into the whole boycott thing. Two
Right.
things I won't buy. I don't buy Nike.
Yeah.
And Ben and Jerry's can suck it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and fuck Bruce Springsteen.
Right. Right.
Oh, and the other thing that people boycott is that
Why is that?
people
Bruce
always wind
Springsteen?
up boycotting stuff that they never go to anyway.
Yeah.
I'm totally not going to go to that place I never go to. Okay.
Bruce Springsteen wrote the song 41 Shots after the whole Abner Louima thing and had no idea what the fuck he was talking about.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I boycott Sephora.
Oh,
Steve got
because
it.
you're a cheap bastard or what?
Yeah, I'm boycotting fucking Netscape. Fuck those people.
Fuck you, I got AOL.
Yeah. That's funny. One of my friend's moms, who's my second mom, and I always crack up. I'm like, what's your email again? She goes, at AOL.com. I'm like, come on.
No way.
You're like, nah, no,
Like,
really.
Get out of here, really?
Really?
Does that still even work?
She's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Better be an email for fucking 70 years, you know? But,
I remember getting those CDs in the mail.
Right.
Yeah.
4 free hours.
Yes.
And then you put the code in.
Beep.
Oh, my God. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
wait, you can get laid from chat rooms?
What?
From chat rooms.
It only takes me 3 hours to download a 3-minute song?
Right. Right.
You were downloading songs?
The
Yeah.
Napster days, you know.
It wasn't me. I was.
Wait,
people I
hold
knew.
on. 3 days from now, I get to see this 30-second joke.
And what was?
Oh, my God. Then you get the bill. $300.
for the song.
What was that song? Sharing because you were. It was
Netscape. No, not Netscape.
Netscape. What's that,
not
Boomer?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Netscape?
I would set it at night, like before I went to bed, to download a whole
Talking
album.
about
And I'd get up in
Napster.
the morning and go, yes, only 2
Napster.
more songs to go.
Right.
Right.
Out of 13.
Yeah. Napster.
What was
And
that?
then
Napster,
Lars-
that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that made
Yeah.
everyone hate Lars Ulrich. He's like, hey, I don't think everyone should have our music for free, you know?
You don't go to a mechanic for your Lamborghini. Well, motherfucker, I don't have a Lamborghini.
Right.
But he was
Yeah,
kinda right.
it's really bizarre that,
Kind of right.
being a creative person, people are like, oh, so how much is this? $5,000. So $200, good?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, shit takes time to do. What the fuck are you talking about? But people are so
Mhm.
used to stealing their art that they don't value.
Oh,
They're
exactly.
like, oh, what are you, a writer? Ha ha ha! Even though everything they consume is done by a fucking writer.
You think?
Right.
Their
Like,
music.
we have
their
this
TV
one.
shows.
We have this one festival down here. It's called the Walter Anderson Festival. It's a huge
Yeah.
arts and crafts festival and stuff, and 100,000 people come to this little town over the weekend. And I hear people all the time, "Oh my God, he wants that much, bitch!
Right.
Yeah.
That took him
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours to do."
That's how he eats.
Right, you'll pay
Exactly.
$500 for a pair of fucking shoes.
Exactly. People like you is why he's a starving artist.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll pay $5,000 for some Jimmy Choos made by a 3-year-old, but you won't buy this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mass
Yeah,
produced and a
Very,
factory
very
run.
strange,
Yep.
I
Craziness.
don't know. I love buying, like, I don't know. Let me see if I can do this. Like, I love weird art and stuff. And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm a beer snob. My wife is a beer snob, and she's a New Orleans Saints fan.
Oh,
Plus,
man.
she's a
I'm
Cajun.
sorry.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if you can see this.
Oh,
yeah.
that is nice.
Nice.
The floor.
Oh, it's bottle caps?
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Nice.
that
Oh,
is
neat.
cool. Very cool.
You just
I
wind up
found
on
this-
the floor.
Yeah.
I found this dude on Instagram. What
I'm
do you say?
French.
He
Shut
said
him
you
off.
wind up on the floor.
Yeah.
Ah, that's like,
After that, you wind up on the floor.
been there, done that.
Absolutely.
But I found this dude on Instagram, and that's how he started. And
Yeah.
it's a local Louisiana brewery called
Yeah.
Avita,
Nice.
and all of his artwork he made out of just their beer caps.
Cool.
Really?
And he hand pressed them, hand glued them, put them on the whole 9 yards.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
That's what's so cool about art. There's so many different avenues. There's so many different
Oh, yeah.
found art, abstract, creationism, cubism. There's just it doesn't fucking matter.
No,
Yeah.
And
Like my
he was
friend,
so
my friend
cool.
Sandy did this thing. It was a
It's all
bucket.
relative.
It was a bucket, and she poured fucking resin on it, put fucking reeds in it, like 2 spotlights, and a stuffed bass coming out of it, catching a hook
oh wow,
for her dad's like 80th birthday.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was like the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. And I fish like every 10 years.
And it sold
It
for
was the coolest fucking
$80,000.
thing. Yeah, it was fucking really cool.
yeah. And by fishing he means I drink beer and
Did I say fisting?
I ride the boat and drink beer.
oh hey now,
Fisting for Christ.
yes.
Sorry.
Did you say fisting?
Yeah, that's the actual movie title. That's not my creation. I'm not that big of an asshole, but I play one on TV.
On Facebook.
I do not want to know what your Netflix looks like.
Oh, it ain't the Netflix one you got to worry about. Oh my God! Speaking
Oh,
of
wow.
stepmoms,
But yeah, this dude. Ooh. Oh,
nice.
he's almost got me speechless.
We're
right.
we're at the rabbit hole, Michael, just so you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's
we're
go
on there.
down. Let's go down now.
Hey, whatever hole you like, you do your
Hey, now.
Oh,
Oh, speaking about man in the boat, but
I
How
know
is she
exactly
into
where
it?
that man is.
Right?
You bet.
Yeah. We have someone who participates on the show called Man in the Boat. Her name is Captain Crotch, and she'll be
Yeah.
on probably in a couple of weeks or so. But
Oh, I need to come back for that one.
so she's coming into Chicago. Steve will be coming into Chicago in the next coming, months leading up here. And vaudevilleppress.com is expanding, and we're going to have a lot of cool shit.
Best time of weather.
Announcement end of February, and what the plan is. The new editor at large, Mr. Steve Schwab. It's a pleasure to have you on, man. We're gonna do some really cool.
Looking forward to it.
That's
Absolutely. We've got our podcast family with Jason and Rob and Leon and
Captain Crotch.
Captain Crotch, of course.
I feel like I bogarted the whole damn conversation here. I don't know nothing
Oh,
about
dude, it was great. Usually I'm
absolutely.
like, blah, 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 blah. And I throw it to Jason. He goes, yes. No, Jason, I got to take a shit. You got it like 4 minutes, dude. I got to pinch a low. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. You got a dump valve back there?
Right? Well, sometimes I don't have time to food before I go to work. And, I literally like book through the door with food. I'm chomping while the pre-thing's going on, mixing drinks, making coffee. Because I have like 4 different drinks with me for my voice or whatever. If I'm going to do voice.
The true hero is the one who does it at work, because then you're getting paid to poop.
That's right.
No, all in due time. All in due time. But
so what's the trick? You're on patrol, and you got to go. What are the options?
Well, there are many, many times I will send a message to my dispatcher, coming in hot, don't give me a call. And they know exactly what that means.
10-100, we used to call it on set.
Oh, yeah.
I may or may not know a guy who may or may not have gone lights and sirens back to the station.
100 miles an hour.
Why are you going so slow?
Yeah, Jason knows what 100 miles per hour is because he put a speed gun on his fucking diarrhea from drinking that shitty beer.
Yeah, right?
Wow!
That's fast.
Jesus Christ. Can you get some fucking decent beer, Jason? Come on, at least take a shot of whiskey or something.
Something.
Look, see, you shouldn't see through your fucking beer like you shouldn't see through your coffee.
That's right.
And if
What is that, Jason?
that too.
Miller Lite.
Oh!
No,
Jason
it's, it's this, but then I process it into a bottle and chill it. And that's
And it's
For
Miller
Bush.
Lite.
Yeah, Miller Lite, yeah.
Yep.
And Steve's got Michelob Light.
Me?
Ultra. You got Ultra, don't you?
Michelob Light
This?
runs in the family.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't look like light to you now.
Look at
does
that.
it?
And that's a fucking
No.
mug like a real man. What are you
The
drinking?
can looked like a Michelob Light.
I actually like Michelob Light. That was good. I like that one. Oh, what is this?
Oh, wow.
Blanc?
1664.
Ooh.
Some
So
French.
I have a
Tasty.
little,
Oh.
That's
I have a
German
little-
for
I have-
Michelob Light.
It's good. It's got a little bit of lemon tang to it.
Nice.
no, it's
Good
like
beer.
It's like a shandy.
I don't know.
Shandy. No,
I call it a malt beverage, but
Oh, okay.
it's just tasty.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Bavarian beer, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what
This
this
isn't
is.
Bavarian. No.
Yeah, you know what beer I really like? I like a Kolsch.
Mm-hmm,
Are you guys Kolsch fans? I really like it, man.
Was that
Kolsch is
some-
like an IPA without the suds.
I do like Kolsch.
Yeah.
IPA
I'm a
is my
bohemian,
favorite.
so. What's that?
IPA is my favorite.
Hey,
Mine too.
we ain't never heard of no Kulch in South Carolina.
Right.
Well, we have in Mississippi, so what the hell is wrong with
that
you?
beer on
Oh, right.
every May 15th that they drink out of the goat's asshole.
Right. Hey, I heard on the radio that Natural
You know,
Light is the
before the
number one
fish
beer in
fry.
South Carolina.
Oh, Lordy.
Let your beard
Yeah.
cut me off.
So you see, I'm drinking the expensive stuff here, you know?
My favorite sport in college was to fuck with Jason, by the way, Mike.
It was what?
To fuck with Jason.
Favorite sport.
My favorite sport is to fuck with Jason. He's like my little brother, you know. Me and Robert were
True
roommates
story.
in college. Steve was my mentor and dean at the school, and Jason was also my roommate. That's kind of the whole thing here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to, after 30 years, to hang out with the same group of people.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You really have affinity for, and just to be comfortable and,
Have fun.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
it's funny, people call.
Like, I didn't cancel Jason because he fucked a goat.
It's just one time.
I mean, it was. I mean,
Once.
as far as taste, it was bad. But
No. You cancel him after he eats the one he fucked.
Right.
right?
Oh,
I wasn't there for Easter, so
Well, I didn't have my Traeger back then, or else,
nice. Hey, you ever see a wood chipper or a log splitter?
Oh, you guys are so sorts of fucked up. I like you.
Well, yes, we are. But
This is why I like you.
Oh, we're on our best behavior because we're on
absolutely.
the YouTube.
Yeah, there's a cop in the house.
Right. Oh yeah, there's that too.
Hey, Vince, you gonna smoke pot with the cops on? Well, duh. But yeah, it's really interesting to see, because I've had an adversarial view of the police, but I never hated them. It was just that I knew that they're out to get me, because if I got caught with what I was doing then, I'd probably get popped and go away for a while.
What do you mean by that?
What's that? Like, let's say hypothetically I was selling drugs.
Oh,
Like, I knew that I was taking a risk, and if I had by chance got caught, like, Jason drinks and drives, hypothetically, I'm just saying that I knew the risk I was taking on at the time. Like,
Statute of limitations.
if you grew up in the 70s and you didn't fucking watch Beretta, you can't do the crime if you don't do the time.
I want the bird.
oh, I love that show.
I want the bird.
I watched
I
that. I
got to work with Fats on a project.
really?
And that was
No
the
shit.
guy. That's the guy who was sitting behind a counter and shit, and in the weird science, he was the guy I was talking to. What's his name in the bar, right? So he was an old black guy.
Dude,
Yeah, I
the
forgot about that.
stories that Fats fucking told me he's like, yeah, Robert Blake could roll up with 2 ounces of cocaine in the morning. Really? He's like, oh yeah, and like just all this bullshit. That if you said it now, people wouldn't believe you, or they think you're
Right.
insane. But no, that shit fucking happened.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
literally missed the cocaine tray and the joint trays for like 18 months when I moved
That
to Hollywood.
sucks.
Yeah, right. There's a famous story of Clint Eastwood when they did Escape from Alcatraz.
Love that movie.
And so he
That is a good
goes up.
movie.
It's a great film. So he goes up there and he's like, "Okay, guys, there's a lot of obviously there's a cocaine problem going on rampant through the crew. And yes, we've had long hours. We've been shooting 6-7 day weeks, this, that, and the other, da da da. But after today, there'll be no more cocaine at the craft service table." And they said and they said right after they said that, you heard like 4 vials hit the cement and like roll. Ning, 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 But I mean, that's how they got all those movies to be made back then. Seriously,
Yeah.
just like pilots with amphetamines and
Yeah.
Truckers with meth.
Truckers. Yeah.
truckers, soldiers, absolutely.
Look, when I was trucking, I talked to this old driver, and he told me, he said, "Yeah, I remember back in the day, I went for to such and such trucking company. I think it was Chicago, by the way, Vince." And he said they handed me a bag of speed and then sent me down to the safety department. And they gave me a pistol and told me to have a good ride. That was like,
Wow.
so yeah.
I just went through a class the last 3 days for commercial vehicle interdiction,
Oh yeah,
for finding traps and all that stuff in trucks.
yeah.
Son,
Oh yeah.
these
Something-
motherfuckers are ingenious.
Something serious, right?
Where they can hide stuff and the things they make to hide stuff.
Yeah.
They had this entire, it looked like a spool of Cat 5 cable, right? Cat 5 cable by the spool weighs about 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Jason, that's 3 goats.
Oh,
Yeah. Three medium-sized
Right.
boats.
Yeah.
But you could lift the top off, and it was hollow.
Oh,
What they did was they took a plastic 55-gallon drum, cut the top off, cut the bottom off, and mounted it to the two wooden spool tops.
Oh yeah.
And they hot glue gunned the Cat 5 around that drum.
yeah.
Mhm.
They had 70 keys of coke in that thing.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. That's like
70.
yeah.
Wow.
And that was a small trap.
Yeah.
They had a tanker up there that they confiscated, and it was one of those 3-bay tankers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The front bay, 3/4 of it was a trap.
Wow.
4 tons.
Four
Of coke.
tons.
Rob, do you remember Carl from our class? Carl from Key West.
Yes.
Okay.
God, I love
Carlos?
Key West.
Carl from
Carlos?
Key West. No, Carl. Black dude Carl. Goatee.
Oh yeah. Yep. Okay.
He lived in Key West.
Yeah.
So every Monday morning, because he sat behind me, I'd hear, "Psst. Vin Man." So I was known as Vin Man back then.
Yeah.
Vin Man. Like, Carl, shut the fuck up. Psst. Carl. And he'd be, he was fucking loaded, you know, and he'd go, and this is the size of the rock he'd bring back every Monday.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And he'd be like, break? I don't know. I kind of want to fulfill my education there, buddy. But maybe
Break.
Friday.
Maybe Friday. No,
Yeah.
you'll be up until Friday.
Definitely Saturday. Oh, my God.
We went to Key West about 6 months ago, and it was the first time I'd ever been there. I understand why people don't ever want to leave.
Ah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
liked it?
I loved it.
It's
I
an
haven't-
amazing
A buddy
place.
of mine went down there on a fluke in 1987,
Still there?
driving a cab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No lie.
He
The
makes
drive down there is
fantastic.
fantastic.
Cash.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
The drive is fucking brutal. I hated it.
Hmm.
Oh, we used to go to Isla Mirada for just to have a beer.
Really?
On
Oh, yeah,
Sunday.
we stopped
me,
at a
Rob,
brewery
and
there.
Glenn.
The Isla
Yep.
Mirada Brewery was amazing.
You
But-
didn't like the drive on the bridges and
No,
The
I don't
water?
like doing 45 miles an hour.
oh, okay, yeah. The traffic it always sucks.
You know,
There's
But
too many people and not enough
we
lanes.
stayed right on Duval Street in Key West,
Mhm.
and my wife had been there before, but I hadn't.
Okay.
So we get up the next morning, and she's like, "Come on, we're gonna go to Banana Cafe," which was this little. It's like actual French people in this place,
Uh-huh.
and it was 1 block down from our condo.
Right.
She's looking at the menu, and she says, "Can I have this mimosa?" And it was like 7:30 in the morning, and they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, fuck, if she can have that." I said, "Can I have this?" And she's like, "Absolutely." So I'm having this like 12% IPA with my crepes at fucking 7:30 in the morning.
What do you got, like a 120-day fucking dogfish or something?
Oh, I don't even know what it was, but it was delicious. I'd have to look it up, but that started the day. And then you don't drive there; you walk everywhere or take a little pet
Right.
cab or whatever. So 7:30, I'm already drinking IPAs. Great stuff.
Nice.
And then we went down to the Harley shop, and I'm thinking it's going to be like a legit Harley dealer. No, it's fucking
Right.
T-shirts. and
T-shirt
shit.
shop.
Pull
yeah.
up and there's
Oh.
like
Savannah.
drinking a beer.
So then we
That's
go to
my
this one
mom's shirt.
saloon that is famous, and I can't remember the name of it, but they got police patches all over the wall and everything else.
Yeah.
Now I'm like 4 beers deep, and it's 10. And we go from there to go, all right, let's go walk over here. We have some Starbucks, and then it'll like 11:30, 12 o'clock, we go to this place and have some seafood for lunch, and I drink a couple more beers. And then that day we happen to be scheduled for the Sunset Cruise,
Right.
and it was like $65 a person, right? No big deal. And with the cruise comes hors d'oeuvres, and you can have beer or you can have margaritas. I drank all $65 worth of those margaritas, let me tell you. And in the interim, I found out one of my friends from Pascagoula was down there with her husband, because her husband flies for the Air Force, the Flying Jennies, who does the hurricane hunting and all that. So they were flying into Key West for some training bullshit. And the second they were off, they had a week off in Key West.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up meeting up at Irish Kevin's, which is a big famous bar in Key West, after I'd been cruising around the Sound drinking margaritas all night. I walk in, and his commanding officer for the flight crew says, "Here you go," and he hands me an Irish car bomb, and that's the last thing I remember.
Right.
And you were done.
I don't know how I got back to the condo. I woke up and was like, where am I?
Who
And
am
my
I?
wife says, "I'm going to go for a walk." I'm like, "You have fun. I'm going to stay here and be miserable and hungover."
Right. I've never been to Key West. I need to check it out.
Dude, I loved it so much, I actually looked at the Key West Police Department. The only thing that kept me from applying for a job was they only had one spot, and I was too old.
Nice. You're not gay.
Otherwise, we'd be talking with me in Key West right now.
Nice.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's an amazing city. My two favorite cities in Florida are Key West and St. Augustine.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't been to St. Augustine, you'd probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I need to go
It's
there.
an amazing place. Yeah, lots of
I've
history
only been
too.
as far as Key Largo, and that's as far as I've gone. But I definitely need to get down to Key West.
Yeah,
Well, next time
the history is
we
amazing.
go, my friend lives over on the west coast of Florida. One of the cops I know, he retired down there, and you can take a high-speed ferry from there to Key West in 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
And there's a
And
bar on the
ton of
ferry.
them there once you get there.
What's that?
High-speed ferries. Oh, sorry.
I saw what you did there.
And I don't mean any like hateful or anything. It's called a joke, people. It's like remember when
I got you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you know what the number one thing that pisses me off? Oh, how many black friends do you have? I'm like, really? Do you classify your friends that way?
Yeah,
Right.
I'm a token Indian.
How many Native Americans?
Oh my
do you have?
God!
Yeah,
No,
I'm
not
a
that kind of,
Oh,
not
look,
that
you
kind of
do not
Indian, right?
listen to me or speckled-haired mister, the half-bald man with the two streaks going down like this.
May the fleas of 1,000 camels infest your crotch.
Like your armpits. Oh my God, what a great fucking movie quote. May the fleas of 1,000 camels infect your armpits. It's funny, I have to argue with my landlord all the time, who's a Catholic priest from India. And
Oh,
he's
that's
like,
fun.
"Oh, hello, I'm
Wow.
Father Matthew." I'm like, "Hi, Matthew." He goes, "No, I'm Father Matthew." I'm like, "Dude, I'm an atheist.
Yeah. How you doing, Matt?
I'll call you Father Matthew if you call me like Duke von Streichenford." You know what I mean? Like, then we're on even ground because I can make shit up too. But holy cow. And everything's a fucking argument. So I learned with this guy because some cultures they like the bargain.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's like, oh, he's not being an asshole. That's just his thing. You know, I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So once I got there, I'm like, I assholed him back. And he's like, oh.
Oh.
You know, it's like, okay. You know, it's like,
The game
I'm
is
like, all right.
afoot.
Like, I literally have to tell you, I'm like, dude, quit being a jag-off. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Where's my fucking stove? You want to
Fuck
bitch
you,
about
man.
You know,
Fuck
he's
you,
like-
man.
He's like, he texts me. He goes, "Oh, so I just got the gas bill and I paid." I'm like, "I don't give a fuck how much you paid for it. I pay you rent later."
Bye-bye.
Dude, it's a
Bye-bye.
business exchange. You know, come on. I don't give a fuck. You know, you'd pay less if you did the correct repair, but you're paying more because you're a cheap ass. So it's not my problem. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, no shit.
You know,
I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a fan of the Catholic Church.
oh.
No.
Yeah, there's not the bit. You've come to the right place, my son.
You're amongst friends.
Oh yeah, Vince and I have lots of conversations about that.
Uh-huh.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm writing a book called Vatican: The Case for Invasion.
You know why altar boys have their hair parted in the middle, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, my son.
Hey, what the altar boy say to the priest?
I have found my people.
Don't humor him. Don't humor him.
Oh,
No,
And by the
was
way,
an altar
Reboot
boy.
Jesus rises this Easter, people. So,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Vince has a book, Reboot Jesus, Mike.
yeah, it's coming out this Easter. So
before or after 3 days.
You know, it's like, how can, people are like, oh, da da da. I'm like, well, look, I've done the math, I've done the research, I've been doing this for a few years now, and it seems that the numbers are 75,000 kids per month in North America are sexually abused by the Catholic organization.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, but they've got hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fucking Hitler was a good painter.
Right?
Right.
Dude, it doesn't match. It doesn't. Oh, just because they have hospitals, they can rape children? No. And I'm an atheist. So when it pisses me off to no end when people use other people's faith because it's very important to them. Just as important to me that I believe what I believe. When
Right.
someone rapes that thought, because in their mind, they're, they feel good that they're believing in this. And when people betray that in the darkest way, I can't.
No.
I'll stand up and fight for the kids. I don't give a fuck.
There's no excuse. None.
People are like, Vince, why are you taking this on? I'm like, who else is gonna? I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
There's and one of my other pet peeves is,
And I don't besmirch anyone who believes if it helps them through the day.
right.
As long as they don't puke it on me, I'm good.
No, I have no qualms with the fact that you're an atheist. I have my beliefs. but
Absolutely.
And I have my beliefs.
I'm not an
And
organized.
Jason fucks goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in it.
Yeah.
I believe in it heavily.
My belief is, I'm not any organized religion. Organized religion, I think, is absolute bullshit.
Right. That's the evil part.
That is.
I can't
Amen.
stand, besides the whole child thing, the Catholic religion is the largest, richest corporation in the world.
And the oldest.
And yet 85% of your followers are below the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell me again why the fucking Pope needs a $25,000 robe and a $6,000 chalice to drink his bullshit fucking Kool-Aid out of.
Because cum doesn't stick to it.
What's that?
Oh.
Oh shit!
Did
Now
you
I
say
caught
that
it.
out loud?
Because
took a
cum
second.
doesn't stick to it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant adolescent cum doesn't stick to it.
Hey, who?
Oh, we just went
That's
from
how
an
much
R
I
rating
fucking
to
hate the Catholic
Yeah.
Church,
Yeah, right.
man. They're fucking
Who-
criminal. It's a fucking
NC 17 now.
Who said this was a family show earlier? I'm just
No, I did not. I asked if it was.
We haven't met the family.
If it was a family show, I gotta go.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I just don't
A
understand.
little too late for that, Mike.
Right. That people are okay with it. They will go, oh, da 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 da. No.
No.
Okay, if I keep on buying shit from fucking craft fair or whatever the fucking place it's called that you don't like, and I'm like contributing to the problem, but you can go and still give money to people who basically want your kids so they can fuck them.
Yeah.
And I'm the asshole. That doesn't fly with me. You know what I mean?
I'm an
Like, as
asshole,
you
but
know,
not that.
When
not-
someone
not
is
because
in a
of that.
special position, either it be mentally, whether it be a foster care, whether it be disabled, a lot of these programs, Mike, as you know, and Steve as well as you know, a lot of these programs are religious based, and the abuse that comes from it is fucking spectacular in the most grotesque way.
Oh yeah, because they have all these kids that are looking for any kind of acceptance.
Yeah. Hey man, here's the
And-
thing. God's gonna love you, man. But first
Yeah.
we gotta fuck you in the ass.
The I got probed, figuratively speaking, by priests because I was a single
By
parent.
the way,
home.
Steve is the grown up in the room.
Hey,
I'm
thank
sorry.
God, thank God there's
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, they thought that the divorced the family, no father around. They I had the target painted on me,
Oh yeah, me too.
and I had one priest. I was an altar boy. He in between services, in between services, he said, "Oh, come on up to my room." I had one priest. So
Rob.
I was like, "Oh, okay." So I go up to the in the rectory, which is a strange name for a place to live.
Yeah,
a
pretty
rectory.
close to rectum.
It's
Wrecked him,
bizarre.
damn near killed him.
So
Exactly.
we walk up there and opens the door and he said, "Oh, have a seat over here on his bed." And I was I think it was a freshman, but I was a big kid. I'm not a small package. I'm 6'2". I played football, martial arts, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm not very comfortable here. And I'm looking at the door,
He's like,
and
"Hey,
it
can
was,
you put
and
on
I
this
thought I
olive
may have
oil
to
and
fight
bend
my way
over?"
out of here,
Right.
and I'm going to go right through that guy.
Yeah.
And he probably picked up on my body language and decided that he didn't want to, potentially have a fight for, what he was hoping for. But that was about the end of my altar boy
Yeah,
experience.
by
I
looking
didn't.
at Steve, you don't know he's Italian.
That's right, half Sicilian.
And
Half
there's the
Sicilian.
secret.
That's right, Omerta.
All right.
Omerta.
Be familiar.
But that was it, And my mom, she was clueless. If my dad was around, he'd understood what was going on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch, there's this one poor family and they had like 9 kids, so everyone was in the school. And they were just Sister Edwardine would just beat the shit out of it, like face punch, full on, just like in front of everyone, like it was nothing. And he didn't do anything wrong. They just missed the payment. She was up there like fucking Al Capone. Yeah. I have not, I didn't get it, man. Then it was like, the church is like, well, your parents are getting divorced, so your mother's being kicked out of the Catholic Church, and so is your father.
Mm-hmm.
But we want you to continue here at St. Joseph's School, and it's going to cost this much and this, that, and the other. And I go, whoa.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I'm like, hold on a second. I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't sound anything close to what Jesus is telling me in this shit.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
What is it? I'm like, you know what? I'll go with my mom. Fuck you. That's in 3rd grade. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with my mom. Really?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And the abuse, and then, I don't know. And the with the Catholic Church, you're just waiting on a Michael will be back. The Catholic Church with the UN, they're waiting on the definition of torture in order to move either against the Vatican or let it lay. And they've been waiting for that definition of torture since 2014. So
that's real difficult to define, isn't it?
Right. Well,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, crucified means torture. So they crucified Christ, which means they tortured him. So I don't know where they have a difficulty with the definition of torture lies.
Right.
So.
See, Rob nailed it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Right
Very
to the
good.
cross. Yeah, like they don't know what torture is.
Nine-inch nails.
You guys,
The Inquisition. Let's begin. I mean, come on. They know it's so disgusting, and the fact that we've had 2 Catholic priests in a row, whatever your views are, each of them are fucking pussies for not mentioning it and fucking laying down the gauntlet.
Well, they have a woke pope now, don't they?
What's that?
I said they have a woke pope now, don't
Does
they?
that mean
Oh,
sperm
they're
gargling?
creepy.
Nah, this Francis, man, he's
Uh-oh,
kind of.
we just lost Michael.
Yeah.
Michael, where'd you go?
I said sperm gurgling, and he fucking laughed. I think it's probably a signal issue because he's on the phone. But
Right.
Yeah.
absolutely,
His phone died.
Yeah,
His
this
phone died.
new pope's a little. Yeah, he's a little with the times, as they
well,
say.
Well, they
I
trying
didn't
to
see
be.
the headline. Something's going on with the new pope. He just got busted for something here with the abuse thing. You know, but I don't understand. Like, okay, so if there's 150,000 active cases, because that's what it would be really if you're looking at it from an administration point of view. So you have 150,000 active cases. Okay, well, these people all need to move. They all need a car. They all need electricity. They need cable. They need Amazon. They need. This isn't being paid out of their pocket. This is being paid out of the administration budget pocket. That building to do this for 150,000 people might be several buildings. And once you understand the administrative cost of what they're trying to hide, it's fucking gross. Because they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to evade something they know that is a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the only thing that I really get offended. I always get offended. Rape and like abuse of children and animals I get upset about.
Yeah.
What's I'm trying to remember the name of the movie that won the Academy Award about the Boston newspaper breaking the story of
that was executive produced by Michael Keaton, and that was called
Spotlight.
Yes.
Spotlight. Excellent.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
And
Excellent
Michael
film.
Keaton and his production company followed up with another series that was amazing called Dope Sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Right.
Michael, have you seen the series Dope Sick?
No, I've heard about it, and it's on my watch list.
Yeah, it's
You'd
good.
appreciate it, Michael.
Yeah, then
Because you got to deal with a lot of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
Steve,
You'd
why
really
don't you-
appreciate it.
Steve, why don't you interview Michael on how the opioid epidemic has affected his what he does daily from both points of view over 20 years.
Yeah, I bet you've seen a lot of deaths as far as that goes. Overdoses.
So many, and
Especially with Narcan.
now you're getting into the whole fentanyl thing, and
Yeah.
you know the problem is, you get these guys, and I saw it on the EMS side and I see it in the police side.
Right.
Narcan only works for a finite amount of time, and the way it works for EMS rules for medics and EMTs, once you give them Narcan and they're cognizant of what's going on around them, and they can answer questions and they know where they're at and everything else, EMS has no choice but to let them say, no, I don't want to go to the hospital, because they're aware now. Well, what nobody tells anybody is Narcan only works for a little while. It blocks those opiate receptors for a small amount of time, and you can actually go back into the same state you were in before we got there.
Right.
If you took a real big hit of heroin that had some fentanyl in it, and we dart you with some Narcan, and now you're awake and blah, blah, blah. Now I don't want to go to the hospital. They have to say, okay, sign here. And an hour later, we're right back because the Narcan is worn off.
Right.
And what happens a lot of times is you take these people. I can't tell you how many times I've taken somebody who had no heartbeat, no respirations. I know they're an overdose. I hit them with the Narcan. They wake up and they're pissed off.
Yeah.
Because you just ruined their high. I'm like, bro, you were dead. You see this? I printed out for them. I'm like, you see this? It's a straight line. Heartbeats are not supposed to be straight lines, you dumbass.
Right.
But they're still pissed off because I spent $20 on that.
Wow. Narcan goes for what, $300 a pop?
I don't even know what it costs. I stopped looking at the cost of meds because
Just gets ridiculous.
it just pissed me off.
Yeah.
You know?
So I hear that
was one of the.
I heard
was one
Mark
of the
Cuban
uproar.
started a company where he's going to do the top 100 most needed drugs for low profit. You heard this?
I can't hear you.
Have you heard that Mark Cuban has started a company where he's offering the top 100 most needed drugs for almost no profit?
Oh wow.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of my biggest things is, you know, you're giving away Narcan for free,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you're
you got
charging
insulin
$300 a pop for fucking insulin.
Insulin. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
It's bullshit.
Yep.
You know, not to. Well, fuck it. It is judgmental. You know, most dope fiends don't give a shit. They're not useful members of society.
Nope.
And I'm reviving them for free so they can go back out and get high again.
Right.
And they don't have to pay a single dime. But the diabetic who I got to go take care of, who for whatever reason his sugar dropped or his sugar went too high, and
it's their fault.
you know they're charging them, you know, an arm, a leg, and their next born for fucking insulin or glucagon.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, all part of this whole thing that's going around with the plague is, it's very interesting that this whole thing, if you know, looking back on it, but the whole thing happened because we can't fat shame people. We can't say, hey, fat ass, put your fucking fork down. You're fucking bitching at me 17 times a fucking day to take this shot, but you can't put down a fucking Big Mac.
Yeah. Hey, guess what? Step back away from the Twinkies.
Right. It's
Yeah,
like,
Jason.
It's
Hey.
not, yeah.
Hey,
Right. We now know he's hiding it with his fucking, he's hiding his 17 chins with the
Hey,
fucking
Vince lost 12 pounds this week, and now he's on his like his all high and mighty now.
No,
you know?
no, because I said, look, I'm going to bitch about this, but I can't bitch about it unless I do something myself.
Right.
But I've already had COVID. I have the natural immunity. It almost fucking killed me. And you know what? Everyone at our age losing a few pounds, 10%, that's a good fucking deal.
Yeah.
If you lose 10%, chances are you're going to stave off diabetes.
Well, you can't say that anymore either.
What's that?
Because now the big thing is fitness is white supremacy.
Oh, really?
And
Dude, it's like, why didn't they have 1 hour of nutrition?
I haven't heard that one yet.
And 1 hour of how to cook that food. Here's
It's
how
on
you do. You
NPR.
got to take vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, da-da-da-da-da. Why wasn't the first thing free television production on telling you how to keep healthy?
because
Mind
that
blowing.
is white supremacy. It's a whole thing on NPR. I saw it and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And one of my friends,
Dude, math is racist.
One of
That
my
doesn't
friends
add up.
is a registered dietitian, and they can no longer say or suggest that you should eat better or that you need to lose weight. Or
Seriously?
Because it's fat shaming.
Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You're not unhealthy.
Hey,
because
just so
you're a
you know,
fat,
everyone
slob
out
piece
there,
of
in case
shit,
the public doesn't tell you, if you lick an asshole, you might get a coli.
right? Or at least
Dude,
pink
That's
eye.
a little bit of a stretch.
It's so stupid. It's so amazingly dumbing.
Yeah.
That you can't even say, hey, man, here's some vitamins. Here's what you can do. You know, eat a little better.
Flintstones.
Yeah. I'm some fucking jagoff from Chicago on a fucking microphone telling people, hey, put your fork down. Oh, I put my fork down, and so far, without almost doing nothing, I've lost 12 pounds out of 22. Doing nothing. Everyone was locked down for 2 years. They could, if you weighed 300 pounds, you could have lost 100.
No, now they weigh 400.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Oh, speaking of that, I mean, you know, to talk about the emergency medical profession and having to deal with people that are 4, 5, 6, 700 pounds. It's crazy.
You have to have special ambulances to pick them up.
Yeah.
I've done it.
Yeah.
I know.
I have cranked people into an ambulance using a fucking come-along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to sell rider systems to paramedics that would basically winch the fat fucks up onto the fucking.
Those things were a godsend, bro.
Well, yeah, because you're picking up
That's
people
sad.
17
I love
times
you,
a day.
man.
You know, like
Because we had the
biggest thing
old
when I was
strikers,
doing
and
disability
you had to
was-
drop them to the ground and
Yeah.
and pick them
Like,
up and put them in the rig.
Are you guys
Yeah.
having a moment here?
People didn't want regular wheelchairs when I was selling.
Yeah,
this
there's no
stuff as a
goats
vendor.
involved, Jason.
Okay.
They wanted the 36-inch wide wheelchair for all the fat fucks
Yeah,
because everyone knew that was coming. Everyone knew that the elderly wave was coming.
Yeah.
You know, half of our population is going to be disabled over the next 6 years.
at least, yeah.
Yeah. And our country's not set up for it. So what do? Well, you start killing people up,
And I'm pissed off because
Hypothetically.
I'm still wearing a fucking size 36 pants.
right?
Lucky.
Sexy and I have a body image.
You know, the problem is,
Yeah, I think me and Jason used to call that in college going hogging, but you know.
yeah,
I still call
College.
it that.
In college.
Jason.
I had a friend in the army says, "Yeah, I got me a LA 250. It's a lard ass over 250 pounds.
LA.
Nice.
Millie.
Nice. You know, and it's weird how people become, you know, like they get weird about themselves, you know. So one time I'm on this shoot and we're in Wall, South Dakota. We're there for a couple of weeks.
Who the
And I
fuck
was
goes
young,
to
so
South Dakota?
full of spunk. We're doing like it was Oldsmobile Aurora. We're doing like 28 car commercials across the desert and shit for fucking a month. So we're in there, and I made friends with the lady at the local gas station. She's missing an arm. Very nice looking woman. So whatever, you know, things happen. So we're walking back to the hotel, and she goes, you know, after I'll tell the adventures on another podcast. We're walking back to the hotel. My nickname was King of the Red. So we're walking back to the hotel, and she goes, Vince, I hope you know I'm missing an arm. Like, how are you going to miss that? You know what I mean? So she's in her like members only jacket that's folded. I'm like, well, I guess patty cake's out of the question.
What a dick!
No, because you needed to do that because I literally didn't care. Like,
Yeah.
of course, I know it doesn't matter that. I mean, that's part of who you are. It's not bothering me that you have this situation. You think I didn't realize it?
Yeah, we've gotten this far in the conversation. I
No,
think I
you're a
realized that.
you're a cool human being. That's all that I care about, you know. But yeah. And then people are like, oh, like, you know, like I screwed some like special needs fucking gold fucking medal
Gold
winner.
medalist.
Like, no, it's just a fucking a lady, you know.
That was a one-arm jack.
Yeah.
But you know, it was just funny.
I caught that.
Yeah. But I did get I got pulled up the same
Sorry,
Sturgis.
that was out
This
loud.
in 1996. I got pulled up on stage. I got to sing 3 songs in front of 3,000 people, and then jump back down. That was a great time. But that was still funny.
Now I'm going to be that guy. I know what Steve has done. I know Jason. He's done fucking nothing. I kind of got a vibe on what Vince has done. I know nothing about Rob other than he steals his mom's clothes.
No, my background is film, television, special effects, working with the fire department all the time because of explosives and that kind of thing. And then
And amputee
writer.
works with amputees too. By the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that what you call it now? Working with
Yeah,
him?
working with them.
Jason worked with the mute, if you know what I mean. But no, I work with disability, aging. I also do end of life things. I do this thing called The Last Laugh, and I hang out with people in hospice who don't have people
That's
or
fucking
family,
awesome.
and I hang out with them, tell stories and bullshit, you know, and make them laugh at the end. And that's a complete. That is such a massive honor.
Do you have an organization for that, or?
Just me. I don't charge for anybody. You know, people go, hey, you know, my uncle's and da 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 da. I'm like, okay.
Well,
You know,
why don't we make that a fucking thing? I can make people laugh. I just got to fucking walk in the door.
Yeah, well, I'd love to do that. I mean, because humor is the best therapy, and
Absolutely.
you know, a lot of people when things are serious and down, as you know, as you've been in high critical situations, people want to joke about it. Yeah,
They
it's
have
dark.
to.
It's
a
dark,
survival
but fucking
mechanism.
joke about it.
Yeah.
People are like, "Are you making a joke about that?" You know, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, and I'm gonna make 15 more."
Yeah.
You know,
The darkest humor you'll ever see is people in emergency services.
absolutely.
Because if we don't, we go fucking crazy.
Exactly.
Right. You know, like in
Yeah.
my, you know, by the time I was 22, I lost 22 of my friends, and then whatever, I had all this older family. They all died, and I was the one who did all the stuff. And then uh, my my two boys, Nana on the mother's side, was died. Okay, and as soon as I heard the situation, you know, she lost oxygen, she coughed really hard, and she was without oxygen for 8.5 minutes. Okay, we know what that is. We know how this is going to play out, and it's just a matter of time. I knew, my ex-wife knew, but the family didn't because they weren't involved in medical, so we just had to comfort. And you know, I'm talking to my youngest son and my older son. I'm like, look, you're going to start to hear noises. You know, this is what's going on. I said, we don't want to break it to the family because it takes a couple of days to get the, you know, it's a process to grieve, and this is the first major death of this family, so everyone's soft. You know, you're going to have to.
Yeah.
And so I'm on my phone, and my mother-in-law fucking hated me. So I'm there keeping peace because that's my role, you know, or at least whatever. So I'm like, you know, do, and then I start hearing the noises, and everyone's freaking out. So I'm like, oh my god. So I'm on YouTube. I'm like, okay, do you like the Beatles? Okay, what's a good song? Okay, Blackbird. I started playing Blackbird, and everyone just turned to me. And I'm like, oh, thank you God for fucking putting that on, because most people don't know what death is.
I'll come back to that in a minute.
You know, most people do not understand the physical process of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like they had to be distracted by a simple song, and that was like everything to them. And I'm like, holy shit. But it's very but for people to let you enter into the end of life, and you know, they're like, hey, you know what, make me laugh. That's more important to me if I sold 10 million books.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah,
I've been
as an artist, you want that. It's the connection. You know what I mean? And if you can, man, nothing more beautiful. That's all I can say. You know.
From my end of the spectrum, one of the things I used to tell everybody, and one of the things I was taught, was never, ever lie to your patient.
Right.
They know.
Right.
They may not have accepted it yet, or they need somebody to kind of help them accept it, but don't lie to them.
Right. Like I would go up to my friend, and people wouldn't know because they don't know the relationship. I'm a very, you know, my humor is to the, you know,
yep.
But people who work with me know, and they like to work with me because they know I'm not going to bullshit them, but my jokes might be, but it's real and I'm not bullshitting them. You know, you'd be like, oh, what's worrying you more, this or bleeding out of your ass?
Exactly.
And it's just a question.
Yeah, I don't want to bleed out of my ass. Just let me die.
Right. But people around you hearing it, even they may think it's totally callous, but it's like, dude, what's bothering you more, the scratchy throat?
Yeah.
Or the fact that your eyes are dry? It's the same thing. They just don't get it because they've had some construct.
It was funny you brought up Blackbird. My wife's father, he died from liver cancer and hepatitis.
Mm-hmm.
And his favorite song was actually Blackbird.
Really?
And she has a tattoo on her wrist, and it's a blackbird. And he had written her a letter, and it said, "Love, Dad," in his writing. So under that blackbird is his writing, Dad.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know.
It's nice.
And she was like the anchor for everybody, because she researched everything and knew everything and talked to the doctors and knew, but they could sit there and joke. Are you going to swallow that fucking pudding, or are you going to sit there and stare at it? You know, because that's all he could eat at the time or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but they had that kind of relationship, and there were many times where I'd have somebody that I knew was going to die. I knew they were going to die.
Right.
And I always had a rule: you don't die in my ambulance. You might die the second you cross that ER threshold, but you are not dying in my ambulance. And I would joke with them, hey, whatever it is I could get or say to make them kind of laugh just for a second. Because I don't know who said it, but laughter truly is the best medicine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it takes away fear. Because if you're busy joking at my stupid ass and laughing, you're not afraid anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know,
It releases endorphins. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to that, no, you can't have him today. He's mine. So if I can make it so they're not focused on dying, that they're focused on the now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what I got to say, what I got to do. I'll run naked through the streets, whatever.
Or in a diaper.
Been there, done that.
Right.
But that was my job. It wasn't necessarily to give you medication or to shock you or this or that. My job was to make it so you were okay with not being here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when I had the it was when I was insane. One of my first conspiracy theories when I had the COVID-19 and 19, because what does that mean? I was bleeding too fast. They couldn't give me a transfusion. I had a deviated septum. They basically had to stick the stick up, and they broke my deviated septum. My ex-wife is on top of me. She's an Army flight medic, holding me back because I was going to kill the fucking doctor. I'm telling him I have a deviated septum. So, I'm like, dude, you can't. I'm trying to pull his arm. I'm like, you're fucking, snap. They broke my nose, 2-3 inches into my face. Which experience.
That felt wonderful.
Yeah, I don't really, tell people to try to do that because it was worse than fucking back surgery. But you're there, and that whole snap. Fuck, I forgot what we were talking about. What were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Death and comedy.
I'm old. But no, so the thing that actually saved me was medicinal cocaine.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, give me some type of antihistamine, because every time I'm coughing, I'm breaking the scab because I was bleeding out, because I broke the blood vessel in the back of my sinus cavity in the center all the way back.
Wow.
And it's not like in an emergency situation, you can't get to it. You have to work with what you have.
Yeah.
And so, like, basically, they're like, okay, you have to relax. You have to calm down. And I meditate, luckily. And, not all the time, but I have. And he's like, you need to relax or he's like, dude, right now you're bleeding out. We can't give you a transfusion because we can't you're bleeding too fast, this, that, and the other. So I had to literally calm myself down.
Yeah, blood pressure goes up, you bleed faster.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I was looking around. I'm like, okay. Seth's doing what he should do. Tyler's doing what he should do. The boys are in charge. They're men doing the thing. And I was good. People are like, oh, well, there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole. Really? The last fucking thing I was thinking about when I was going to die was God. I'm like, these two guys, they got it covered. And I'm perfectly comfortable. I wasn't scared because they were doing what they should do, and I was good to go.
It's good to have that. And I like to think sometimes I was the person that was there.
Yeah.
That for the people that didn't have that.
Right. Right.
I don't care if you were an atheist. I don't care if you were a Jew. I don't care if you were a Christian.
It doesn't matter.
I don't give a fuck who you were.
Right.
My job was to either A, keep you from dying,
right,
or B, if you were gonna, make it as easy as possible.
Sure, I just thought it was funny that people were mad at me for almost dying as an atheist. Like, that was their major concern. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything else that happened. My well-being. Oh, my God, you're an atheist?
You were supposed to convert, man.
Right.
You know, some of the best conversations I've ever had, and like I said, I'm non-denominational.
Yeah, I don't care,
I
whatever,
don't,
but whatever. If it
know.
helps you through the day, I don't give a shit. But don't push it on me.
I'm a Christian, but some of the best conversations I've ever had, one of the guys at my department, he's atheist. We have some of the most amazing fucking conversations about shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And neither one of us tries to push or change the other.
Yeah.
Exactly. Me and Rob, we go through that when we for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
And
Like, oh, he's like, I know a lot of Christians, man, but you're better than a lot of those people.
exactly. Exactly. Because there's Christians and then there's the church Christians.
Right.
They can kiss my ass.
Like here's my whole thing. I don't care, I'm not here to attack your faith, but I'll fucking burn your church down.
So will I.
You know what I mean? Just because the church is the organization that is inherently evil. It's not necessarily the faith that people put into that, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just don't
Well, it's
subscribe to it.
concentrated power. When you concentrate power and you concentrate, riches and people that want to rule over others, it's a magnet for psychopaths. So it's really not. I came to the conclusion a long time ago that it's not the challenge isn't an organized religion, because the opposite is disorganized, which doesn't make any sense. Disorganized anything. It's really centralized institutions, centralized, governments. Too much power in too few hands creates a draw for people that shouldn't be in power, psychopaths. So it's that's the issue.
I don't remember the whole saying, but the last part of it was absolute power corrupts.
Yeah, it does. And when you have too much money, too much power, over too many people, you got a problem.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you get just a few really crooked, really corrupt, really twisted individuals in those seats of power, and they tend to hold on to it for a long time, they create a lot of suffering and damage.
Yeah.
So it's really central. It's really these massively large centralized organizations that leverage the worst that humans have to offer, because it's a draw for these for psychopaths that just they want to be at the top of the pyramid and hide their proclivities or pretend to be saintly.
That's how you end up with the Jim Joneses of the world.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, or pick any of totalitarian flavored rulers.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the death and suffering that we see in human history is by huge central organizations.
Right.
Yep.
And real quick, we got us. Rob's got to run. Rob, thank you, brother. Love you, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Good meeting you.
See you, Rob.
Next time.
Take care of yourself.
All right, love you guys.
Love you guys.
watch
Love you
that
too.
shirt before you get back
Later,
to Mike.
buddy.
Peace out.
All right. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, it's amazing what organized. Like I was thinking earlier today, I'm like, okay, so what do I want to talk about? Okay, so Michael's been a public servant all his life, and what people think of public service and how it's more changed. And I'm like, oh. So it turns out that the people who are supposedly originally supposed to be in public service have now demonized the people. So Rob, Michael, who does his job and follows policy that's passed by law, is now demonized by the same fucking motherfuckers who make these policies, and they point at people on street level like they're an angel, and that pisses me off to no end.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you guys are smart and you think you're so fucking woke and with it, why don't you follow the people who make the policies and pass the laws which piss you off? Like when people go, oh, They need to pay more taxes. Well, yeah. Why don't you pass the fucking law?
Yeah.
It's not
Here-
the people.
It's
It's
so funny
amazing
when I
that
hear
people
this shit
buy this
about
shit.
taxes. You made all these laws, and these people make enough money to hire attorneys who
Right.
can find the loopholes
Sure.
in the laws that you wrote,
Right.
and now you're mad at them.
Right.
They're playing by your rules.
Yeah. And we're living in a situation, no matter how you view the plague that's going on, but we went to the same party who demonized the 1% are now got their hands wrapped around the 1%.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's unreal, like how fast they were able to be fooled by just scaring them.
There are so many people in this country who are low information voters,
Sure.
and they only follow what makes them feel good.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
don't research anything. They don't read anything. You know, it goes back to like when we were kids and the commercials on TV. Riff. Reading is fundamental.
Right.
Read a book, bitch.
Out of Colorado.
You know,
I remember the address.
don't.
Pueblo.
really?
Pueblo.
Yeah, from the PSA.
That's right.
commercials.
Wasn't it Pueblo?
Pueblo, Colorado.
Yep.
P.O. Box 11501.
Okay, you went way further than I can
Right.
remember.
Well, I smoke a lot of weed too.
Wow. Pueblo, Colorado riff.
Yeah.
There's some
It's
deep
fundamental.
issues there somewhere, and we'll touch on
Yeah,
that.
well,
later.
there's probably attached to Zoom. Come on, and Zoom. Remember that show? Out of
Yeah.
Boston?
He's
Yeah.
gonna start singing the Electric Company.
Yeah, me and my
song
guitar
soon.
player actually spoke the Zoom language, and it was fucking hilarious. Yeah, so we go to parties and speak the Zoom language. No one would know what we're talking about.
Wow.
Great. Yeah. Creative. A lot of marijuana. But
I don't know anything about that stuff,
yeah, I'm sure you never run across it in your job.
or before, or anything.
You know what's really interesting to me as a avid pot smoker, and I use it for pain relief and anxiety mostly. I don't use it I don't get high. I don't get wasted. And for some reason, if you want to get, because I refuse to get a medical card because they take away your rights to buy ammunition or a firearm. Well, I don't have a gun. I don't have ammunition, but I
But
reserve
you
the
still
fucking
have the right to.
I reserve the right.
Exactly.
Even though they're like, oh, but your brother died of a gunshot wound. Yeah, self-inflicted, whatever. That's a totally different subject. Mental health is totally different than your right to,
Yeah.
have a firearm. And I just don't understand the connection, because people who smoke pot do not create high-level crimes with firearms.
No.
Is that an Illinois rule?
It started in California. Everyone got their medicinal, and then they actually passed a law and made the people who own firearms retroactively felons.
Yeah.
In California.
Yes. But in Illinois, like if you're okay, so I do recreational. So if cause I buy 2 joints a week. I mean, that's how big of a badass I am at 53, So I buy 2 joints a week. So if they say that I'm a habitual user, I can lose my right to have a firearm or buy ammunition.
Again, in Illinois.
Yes. Well, anywhere where you have medicinal marijuana, they'll just slip it in.
Yeah, those are caveats to the legal marijuana laws.
Yeah, when it's obvious that alcohol fuels most of the crime that are, as far as like, between husband and wife.
This is my thoughts on people that want to smoke weed. I feel that you smoking a joint is no different than the 3 beers I just drank.
Right. Yeah, people
Because the 3 beers I just
I'm
drank.
Yeah, I smoke pot. It's like you and your wine when you get home from work.
The 3
nothing.
beers I just drank are 12% each.
Right.
So am I any more or less inebriated than somebody who smoked a joint?
Right, and it,
that's
and it
sitting
took
in
some
his
kind of
house.
weird as well. There's some weird religious attachment to it, which even
Yeah.
pissed me off even more. Like,
What's that?
if you believed in God, then you should know that He made this plant that we should consume to not be in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you have
Well,
to
there's
take narcotics and become addicted and fuck your sister.
well, there's there's a long history of controlling plant
Jason's like, right?
substances for business reasons and to prevent competition, to corner a market. The paper industry, from what I know, was big in moving to do away with hemp products because they wanted, they had land investments in pine and fast growing trees. So I mean, there's a lot involved, and when you start to peel the onion back, you begin to you quickly see big business interests and lobbyists involved, and rules and regulations written, and then they get cooked in the books, and everyone's protecting their profit margin. So, there's a lot of that mixed in.
Yeah, no doubt.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah. Plus, it's really easy. It's a simple plant to grow. I mean, it's easier than making moonshine. You don't even need equipment. And
Well,
and you have a medicinal substance that can be can relax you, or whatever it is. So sure, it's a threat to certain businesses.
Yeah, well, I mean, with my CBD company, I mean, they tried to burn the building down and with me inside it. They tried to kill me.
Really?
They paid $1 million for their license, and I figured out a way. But you didn't need a license because hemp was legal. I wasn't selling pot. They wanted to sell pot, and they had CBD attached to it. So this is right when legalization was happening. So yeah, they tried burning the building with me in it.
Wow.
And after another business partner extracted all the cash from it and stuff like that, I'm like, you know what? I'm literally here to help people with like ALS, extreme fucking pain. And there's all these people fucking wanting the fucking money. Fuck off. And I closed the company. We were doing great, but I'm not going to be there for people to try to fucking whack me because I didn't pay a licensing fee, and I figured it out because I used my brain that you could sell CBD legally.
How many times I gotta tell you, stop with the common sense bullshit?
Exactly. And
that's
it's
at
so
least
weird,
3 times tonight, man.
Right. Exactly. So yeah. So like CBD is I call it the stem cell of, like you would take your vitamins, that kind of thing. It's literally there's 400 things it can help with.
I started using CBD.
Yeah, and it'll find it.
You know why?
Like, what's that? Why?
Because 20 plus years of shift work and working days, working nights.
Couldn't
you know
sleep.
what my circadian rhythm is right now? Non-fucking existent.
Right.
Really?
I go to bed, say on days.
Yeah.
I go to bed 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm awake by midnight.
Right.
And then come about 3 in the morning, when I have to be up and out the door at 4, then I'm tired again.
Right.
So now I go to work and I can't fucking sleep because I'm at work.
Right.
So I started taking the tincture of CBD.
What milligrams are you on?
I forget what it is. I have to go look at the bottle, but it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
But
some's better.
I'm getting a little bit better in the sleep department.
Yeah.
Do you do melatonin?
And it takes 4 months for your system to hum once you're on CBD.
I tried the whole melatonin thing. Didn't do a damn thing for me.
Really? Didn't help you?
There is a product, CBD with melatonin, that I've used that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
Really?
Yeah.
You'll have to send
it's from
me that
Living Water. Yeah, CBD Living Water. It's out of California. The guy from Adidas is heading it up.
I'm a little bit better. Sometimes I'll sleep 4 hours straight.
I was in chronic pain for 20 years, and I'm working in a kitchen, And this guy's like, hey, because I don't bring it to the attention. It's just something I have to deal with. If other people notice, I'm not bitching about it. If people notice it, they notice it because I'm bent over in pain. But I'm not, like, oh, and it's usually if it's a really cold, below zero, that really is a rough time. So they're like, oh, dude.
You can move where they don't have that kind of temperature.
Well, that's the plan now. But I had to wait for my kids to be old enough to. Now they're all, over 21. So. And so he's like, oh, here, try this bottle of water. I'm like, yeah, get fucked. He's like, no. He's like, I'm like, okay, I'll try your bottle of water. So I was a smart ass. I fucking, and then a half hour later, I'm cutting up shit for a fucking catering job. I'm like, oh my God.
I can stand up.
I'm not in pain. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fluke. Next day I go in, I'm like, hey, I tried the water. You said you had gummies? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, give me one of those. I take it. And it was busy, and I was like leaning on shit, because it was like 20 degrees below zero. So it's like someone having a vice grips on my spine.
Yeah.
And 20 minutes later, I'm like, no way. So then I bought a bunch of it, and I gave it to 25 people. I'm like, okay, this is gonna just to satisfy my OCD bullshit in my head. I'm like, here's 25 people, and 24 out of 25 all reported positive, and the 25th person just bitched because he likes to bitch. You know what I mean? He's an 85-year-old man. And he just wants to complain.
Yeah, there's always that guy.
And I'm like, I'll take that. That's fine. You can have the 4% off of 100%, but it was 96% positive. And there were various pain things. One guy had MS, another person had fibromyalgia, another person had, arthritis, another person had chronic pain disorder, but it was all across the spectrum. And I'm like, well, amazing. So then I was on CBD for 2 years, and once it got through my system and everything, it changed my life. I mean, I'm no longer in pain every day.
The problem is Big Pharma can't control it.
Right. Exactly.
And, and
it's even funny is that CBD it has been peer reviewed by 17 different people now that CBD can stave off the plague.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, I was reading that.
Yeah.
Right. And most people don't know what CBD. The CBD receptor system is the largest receptor system in the human body. Most people don't even know it exists. And so it's in every skin cell. And what the CBD receptor system does is, for people who don't know, let's say you have a faucet. Okay. So you run the faucet and you want to water the yard. Okay. The yard is your pain. So if you water the yard, the pain will go away. Okay. So CBD keeps that spigot open. And when you're in pain, it's because your receptors have been closed off and it's not moving. So now you're in pain. Well, CBD keeps the water flowing. And what happened once we went from farming from Steve's grandparents, my grandparents, or Jason's grandparents, when we all fed them hemp, and we went to big corporate where they're injecting all types of drugs and pharmaceuticals, and they did away with hemp. Well, now you have fibromyalgia, and it's been proven over many studies that fibromyalgia is basically a CBD deficiency because we used to have it in the food line. Right. That makes total sense to me. Yeah. Makes total sense.
Yeah, cows would eat it. It would get in the milk. Yeah. It would,
Yeah, that's what they fed them. Instead, in their hay mix was fucking hemp.
Yeah.
Because it's roughage.
That's how girls got big tits. It's in the milk.
I thought it was doctors out of Beverly Hills, but my bad.
No, they didn't have them like that when me and Jason were in high school.
No.
It got weird. There was like a 10-year period where everyone's like, "What the hell?" They're
the hormones. The hormones in the milk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
God bless them. God bless the hormones.
Hey, Jason.
Yeah,
Jason's alive.
They don't give goats hormones.
Yeah, Jason woke up from his fucking Coors Light stupor over there.
Oh, there's no hormones in goat milk.
And Brett, he's with us.
Right.
Yeah, so that always amazed me that, you can drink as much alcohol as you want. Don't have any pot. We can't give you a firearm if you've smoked. What is the fear over this drug? And it's not even a drug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It grows out of the fuck. You know what is the fear of the flower?
It's
That's
just
one of the things I say all the time too. Is I would rather deal with a guy who's high
Yeah.
than a drunk.
Because
absolutely.
most
yeah.
likely he's gonna be truthful to you. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah,
deal with a drunk.
Yeah,
the
angry
repetitive,
drunks are a
violent
danger.
assholes. You deal with somebody who's high, he's just like, "Can I have some Cheetos, bro?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you keep a bag of Doritos in the squad car.
Right.
I have.
you know, and I would have this argument over decades. People are like, "Oh, they should not that." It's like, really? I'm like, this person is going through chemo. They're in total, complete hell. This one thing works, and they can
leave
actually
them the
eat
fuck
something.
alone.
They can bring some moisture to the lips, and they can actually feel a little better. And you're against
Right.
it because of Jesus.
No.
What?
Yeah.
You know what that is? That's somebody misinterpreting shit.
Well, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. You know, because again, it goes back to the church and not the individual
Yeah.
person's faith. And I never knock the person's individual faith, but I'll burn a church down.
Same.
As it
That's
should
one
be.
of the things. Like I said, I don't like organized stuff.
Yeah.
The one church that I do go to, because I was the kid that was thrown out of fucking Sunday school because I had the audacity to go, well, why?
Yeah.
How come? How did that happen? And well, just cause. Well, just cause didn't fucking work for me.
Right.
So I stopped going way into my adulthood. And the church I go to, it's not church. It's a fucking history lesson. And he says, all right, well, this is the language they spoke during this time. And this word, the way they used it at this time, meant this, not that.
Right.
So it answered my whys and how comes. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still things I have questions about. And
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah.
But at least I can understand things. And one of the biggest things I understood was the ones who throw it in your face know absolutely nothing.
Right.
Right.
Nothing. And they're the worst part of religion.
I once dated this lady, and so we're talking. She's like, "Oh, blah blah blah." She's Baptist. She's like, "Oh, you're an atheist." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." But I don't make a big deal out of it. You know, like I'll give shit to Jason because he gives me shit, but it's shit given. It's not, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're talking, da da da. I'm like, "Oh yeah, you know, this, that, and the other." And I'm telling her about my book. You know, this is what I want to do with this book. Da 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 da. She's like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Yeah, well, you know, when Jesus, you know, went in and they kicked over the tables at the money givers." She's like, "What?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." She's like,
He
"No."
despised
And
organized religion.
she starts yelling at me.
She didn't read that part.
Dude, she goes, "That isn't true because my preacher didn't tell me." I'm like, dude, if you bought a K-Tel fucking album of Jesus Christ top 10 fucking hits, it'd be like number 3.
Right.
Yeah, at least.
You know what I mean? It'd be like right up on the top, you know, like killing
Yeah.
the kid, you know, da da da, and then fucking, you know, kicking over the fucking.
Yeah, it'd be like the Stairway to Heaven of, you know.
Right,
Jesus
or at
Christ.
least, you know, some kind of Black Sabbath tune, you know,
Right.
maybe with
The
the
forbidden riff in guitar stores.
Yeah, and
Right.
she's like, well, that doesn't exist because my preacher didn't tell me. I'm like, that's fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try reading a book, like the
Right.
good book. It's
Yeah.
in there.
Right.
Everything's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It,
Yeah. Enough for
It
enough to build
amazes
a fire.
me.
Keep my hands warm. Make me
People
dinner.
are sheep. The majority of people, whether they're religious, not religious, they're just sheep. They follow whatever is.
Yeah,
they're
well,
like
the human
water.
being is designed to follow, I believe.
Yeah.
What about
They're
you?
like water, the path of least resistance.
Yeah, Steve. Humans as followers.
Yeah, we're hive and herd animals. I'm convinced.
Absolutely.
We like to think that we're, you know, the Marlboro man, so to speak, you know, rugged individuals, but I think that's a delusion. It's a great marketing
a little further
trick.
on your hive mentality theory that you
What's
have.
that?
Expand a little further on your hive theory that you have.
Well, we think about it. We we want a king, we want an emperor, we want a god, we want this central figure to cogitate on all the time. And these are people we've never met, we've never had a conversation with, we've never had over to dinner. But there's this need for a central figure in our consciousness to constantly, cogitate over and consider. And when you think about it, if it's not a god, if it's not a king, it might be a pop figure. But they're usually people we haven't even shaken their hand. So you wonder, well, is it a habit? Is it something that we learn? Or maybe it's both nature and nurture. Maybe it's just part of the human being that needs a queen bee or the equivalent of something like that to be with us at all times, reflect on. So maybe
sometimes I think it comes down to the human need for everything to have an explanation.
Right.
Well, that's true too. But if you pin it on a central figure, like all we need is that a different president flavor, and all our lives will be improved. The economy will get better. It's like that they're not a god. They don't. It's one person. This is an individual that has to take a crap every few hours, sleep 8-9 hours a day. And they get up in the morning. They get up in the morning. They have to empty their bladder. They put their shoes on. They're not gods, and they only have so much time. But we consider we concern ourselves. It's so much energy and time over somebody we place in that role for us, like a queen bee. But
Right.
so hive mind, we've got this hive mind humans do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna say this guy's a whole lot fucking smarter than I am. So next time, I gotta have dumber people. Jason notwithstanding.
That's right. I'm the dumbest one here for sure.
When you turn your head just the right way, Jason, with that thing in the background, it looks like your head is floating. Just wanted to say that.
It's Oz.
Right.
Isn't that weird? He's got a floating
Powerful.
tampon to his left side.
Wow,
Look
yes,
at it
he
just
does.
floating up there.
Wizard of Oz.
Right.
At least it's not used.
Right. Well, we
Not
don't
yet.
know. Alien blood could be green.
It could
Right.
be, yeah.
That was not really appropriate, but oh well. Anyway,
You know we love you, right, Jason?
Oh yeah. I get love
Hang
every
in
week.
there, buddy. We're almost done.
yeah, we're almost
You can make
there.
it.
You're
Come
gonna
on,
make
You make it to the finish line.
Yeah, let's see if we can make Jason fall asleep. That would
Right.
be funny.
Yeah,
But this has been a great talk, Michael.
Yeah,
you are
no doubt.
welcome back anytime, sir.
absolutely.
I appreciate the invite, and I'll come back anytime you have me.
Great.
Thank
It was
you.
nice meeting you, Michael.
Thank you for your military
Real
service.
honor.
Thank
You
you
too,
for
Steve.
serving your community in whichever city you've lived in. A lot of people don't understand the meaning of service and what it
Right.
means, and the people who do it sacrifice a great deal. So thank you, sir.
Yep.
Thank you. I just want to mention before we sign off, and JetBlue is an amazing organization. I am flying to New York City on Monday to attend the funeral of Officer Moore, the second officer
Wow.
that was killed in New York City.
Wow. Right on.
Oh,
Yeah.
And JetBlue does this thing where they will fly any officer in the country to the funeral for free,
wow.
and it's round trip. So
That's awesome.
I will be in New York City for February 2nd for Officer Moore's funeral. That's the second officer out of the two that were killed.
Right. Jason
Right.
Rivera. Was it Rivera?
Yeah.
Rivera. Yeah, it was the first one.
Rivera was 22 years old.
Yeah.
Just got cut loose.
Man.
Yeah.
And he was just married this last October.
Yeah. Terrible.
And it's hard for people that aren't in this job to understand what that feels like.
Right.
You know, everybody talks shit and blah, blah, blah. You know, oh, you're my brother, your family. Cops are family.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you go, anywhere you're at, cops are going to take care of other cops.
Right. Yep.
And when we lose one, everybody feels it.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like I said, I just want to take a moment for those two guys.
Absolutely. Send us an image and we'll give him his due respect on our page.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Michael, great to know you, brother.
You too?
It's been great. Steve, nice seeing you again, pal.
All right, man.
Jay on the other end, the other lip of the vag.
Wow.
Right. Well, we have a man on the boat too, but
Hey,
he's not
Steve,
on
where
the
the hell does that leave us? It's
Maybe
probably
in the two
nowhere
booths?
good.
Hey, you know. But anyway, okay, so we're gonna sign off, and you know, sometimes things get heavy, and sometimes you know, as friends, you may not know how to deal with the heaviness that your friend approaches you with, but you figure it out because that's just creativity talking, and friendship is just another extension of loving your fellow human being, and it doesn't matter what your belief system is. That's just creativity talking. See you next time, everybody. And Jason, love you, buddy. Steve, love you. And
Ciao.
Michael, thank you, sir, for your service. We do appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Be well, guys.
All right.
All right.
VaudevillePress.com. Visit us again. This has been Creativity Talking. I'm Biff Strange.
Later, people.